Hello and welcome to the Black Dog Podcast number 328.
Woohoo!
Smells. Is it only 328, Lee?
It's 328.
In the morning.
Yes.
That's what it feels like.
For you.
328 AD in the future.
Welcome to my Jareth pants. Hello. Yes, welcome to Black Dog episode number 328. I used to do titles. I'm Lee.
I'm the babe with the voodoo.
I'm 1975 David Bowie.
I can't think of anything, so I'm Elton.
Okay. And this week we'll be seeing how everyone's week's been, and then we'll be finishing off this season of Netflix Roulette with Elton's choice, which just happened to be the one that Netflix took off just as everyone wanted to watch it. So, that was a bit of a panic. So, we'll be doing Labyrinth with David Bowie as the Goblin King showing his shiny balls. But anyway, yes, we'll be getting to that. It's going to be this kind of
dance,
energy.
magic dance.
I'm glad you're feeling the same way I am at the moment.
Man alive, you have no idea. I am just trudging along. Yeah, it's going to be a low energy kind of thing unless we get into arguments about whether or not this is a good film, which I doubt it really is, but we'll never know. But we'll see how it goes.
I'm just playing with my crystal balls.
Look,
I've got 4 of them.
My Tina Turner hair is flapping in the wind. Don't deny me, Sutter.
It's a fried wig.
Anyway, so we'll see how everyone's week's been, and then we'll move on to this week's film. Let's start with you, Jim, seeing as it was your birthday last week.
Yes, it was.
Yes,
and it was very nice. No,
I had a lot of fun.
No, I had a great time away on holiday.
Oh yes,
which was very lovely.
I forgot you did one
then
last
I had a nice
week.
birthday, and then after that, it's all been shit, really. It's right. Stress levels back to normal again. I need another holiday again now. But,
When you went away on
life.
holiday, did you bring many bits of underwear, or did you just have many? No, fuck that one up.
To changes.
Bollocks.
Don't worry.
I'm just not
I
one.
had hand luggage only.
Yeah. So your week's turned to shit, has it?
Yeah. It's been sucky. I've got impending dental work as a crown fell out.
Oh, no.
Some twats who live near me have had a dog just barking in their yard. I'm in the process of making complaints and trying not to go out in the middle of the night and kill it with a spade.
Oh, I like your complaints, Jim.
The
They're
car
always
broke
effective.
down. And I've got the typical post-flight cold because there's always one fucking plague carrier on every flight you go on. So it's all back to things sucking, really.
Oh shit! But the holiday was good.
Well, it was great. Yes. I had a lovely time. It's a house sitting for a brother of my occasional co-host O'Deal in his lovely house, and he also designs games for a living. So there's lots of fun and new games to play while we were there as well.
Awesome.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome. Wow.
Yes, it was, and it was nice to actually go somewhere where we had proper summer weather. Whereas I come back to England, and it seems as if someone turned the dial forward to autumn.
It just thought it skipped summer and autumn and go straight on to winter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
Nice.
living in a bad Terry Gilliam cartoon.
Yeah, exactly.
Comes
Oh,
in there.
nice. And then just covered in snow.
But it's already getting dark out there. It's 2 minutes past 9,
And it's dark.
and it's dark.
Yeah, I was going to say, last week when we were doing the Ice Ice Baby thing, it was brilliant sunshine pouring through the window at
That's
9
right.
o'clock, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. They'll be putting the clocks back soon.
Yeah. Does this mean that central heating chicken starts now?
Always very close to it.
It must be very close, surely.
Well,
Might be an early start this year.
yeah. Well. Anyway, so anything else, sir? Have you done anything else, or has it just been shit, and more shit?
No, that's about it. Oh, we went to see Dunkirk.
Oh yes. What do you think of that?
Kind of the last day of our holiday after we got back, which thoroughly enjoyed seems the wrong word for it,
Yeah. It's
considering the nature of the film. So as my cousin remarked after he saw it, he said, "I saw on the old British certificate, he said, contains scenes of sustained distress." And he thought, what a load of bollocks. And he came out afterwards and kind of, okay, I see what they mean now.
yeah. Sustained distress. I like that. That's how very, how very English. Yes. Don't worry, you'll be tense for a very long time. Nice.
But yeah, that was good. I also got Logan for my birthday.
Oh, very nice.
Which I rewatched, and that holds up very well on a second time.
Oh, good.
And I think it's interesting watching it on the small screen, because kind of on the big screen, 'cause it's quite big panoramic, moody landscapes and whatnot. It's kind of, when you're watching the small screen, you focus a bit more on the performances.
Mm.
I think, and it's kind of, actually in the second viewing, it's kind of, yes, Patrick Stewart's great. The little lass they got, yes, she's great. But actually, Hugh Jackman is pretty bloody great in a kind of all stops pulled out performance that's, almost painfully physical. Of that every step, every gesture, you can see how in pain and crocked Logan is. And he looks like he's just literally going to drop dead at any moment.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, second time viewing, it was kind of like, that is a good performance. That is worthy of some sort of proper award, because
Right.
it is such an immersive, Bobby De Niro performance acting, physical performance.
Yeah.
And he looks so rattled and he's so intense. Great stuff.
Cool.
Good movie. The X-Men's True Grit.
Nice. Nice.
I think that should always be the final ever X-Men story in the canon. And no one should do another one and fuck it up.
Well, unfortunately, who's going to tell him?
Yeah. But it's that kind of story. It's like a Ragnarok, Twilight of the Gods feeling to it.
Yeah.
And kind of in all the various continuity of the X-Men, that one should always be the last. That should be the... But there you go.
Oh, there you go. Oh, cool. Excellent. Well, there you go. At least end on a sort of high point. There you go. So we'll move on to Elton then. How are you feeling, mate?
I'm all right. I've had a visit. My family flew away and came back, and I've had a birthday to enjoy. So,
Have you?
Not my birthday. It's my son's birthday on the 2nd, the day after Jim's.
Can you turn yourself up a little bit, mate? You've gone a bit quiet.
How about that?
Bit more?
Oh, Jesus Christ! A bit more. Is that too much?
Yeah, no,
That's
good.
good.
That's
That's
cool.
good. That's really
that's
good.
good. Don't worry.
No more cowbell.
So anyway, yes. So you had your birthday, your son's birthday. Yep.
Yeah. Well, first off, my family flew away to Spain for the week. I couldn't get the time off work, so they went off away without me, leaving me all by myself at home, which turns out to be an adventure, I suppose, of sorts, because the first day you're like, yeah, house to myself. Excellent. Wicked. And I've got all these plans, big plans of stuff to do.
And stuff to download.
YouPorn Premium.
I'm getting a workout this week. Oh, yes.
Not a dry sock in the house. Yeah, go on.
Oh dear, it's true though. It is true. What else? Did a bit of DIY.
Oh, Christ.
And, while I was doing a DIY, I nearly had a mishap. I was doing some drilling outside, and I was wearing these goggles that go all over your face, and I had a face mask on as well to stop all the dust from going down my throat. And as I was drilling, I was up the ladder, by the way, and I was drilling away into the wall, and as I was drilling, a spider just decided to walk across my face inside the goggles.
Oh.
Now,
Did you
I
scream?
perched up a ladder,
Yeah, go on.
2 feet on the ladder, one hand on the ladder, another one with a big drill going in it.
Right.
And I'm just sat there going, I can't do anything. You know that bit in, what's the Macaulay Culkin Home Alone film where he puts a spider on that guy's face?
Yep, I know one, yep.
Very reminiscent of that. It was probably a world's tiniest money spider, but it felt like a massive bird-eating spider that walked across my face. That was horrible. The worst thing about it, though, is I got down the ladder, put all the tools down safely, took the goggles off, couldn't find it.
Dun, dun,
We know where spiders normally end up to hosts on this cast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, have you tried scratching in appropriate places, mate?
Not yet. No. Oh, God.
Yeah. It's just
I'll let you know in a week's time, I suppose.
spiders like places that are warm. Little crevices. Love getting in little crevices, nooks and crannies.
They like the crack.
They do like the crack.
Wow.
Itchy? Don't mind me calling you Itchy, do you?
I'm going to be checking halfway through this cast, by the way.
Okay, fair enough.
Just make sure you've got the camera switched off.
Yeah, I've turned it well off.
Thank
mate,
you.
Trust me.
I don't want to see him suddenly. He's got one leg over there, one leg over there. What's down here?
Yeah.
Doing the Riker pose.
As we look him in the eye.
So no. So when you woke up, did you find you could climb walls and fire webbing?
Unfortunately, no. I don't think it was a radioactive spider. I think it was just I'm a bastard, I'm going to scare you spider.
Ah, that's no good.
Bastard spiders. I've seen
Wow.
those before. Plenty of those near my house.
And anything else, sir?
My boy had his birthday.
Yes.
He was 14, and we got him a television. So now he has.
no.
Yeah, we had to cave in and get him a television. He got other bits as well, but put this thing on the wall. That's a bit more DIY. And then he promptly disappeared for a week. So, yeah, that's what a TV in the room would do. He came downstairs, nicked the PlayStation, and that was it. Yeah, bye-bye.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Did he come downstairs for a vitamin B shot?
Fresh kitchen roll.
I think he was doing the student thing of coming down, pot noodle, straight back upstairs. Oh, okay. Living like that now, are we? Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. That's when you suddenly start discussing the rental terms.
Yes. Yeah. And also had the resident troll, Mr. Lee Harvey, crash over for a couple of nights
Yeah.
while the family were away. So lots of beer was consumed. And we got a trip into Duxford over that weekend as well. So that was good.
Nice. There you go.
So, yeah, all fine and dandy. Once again, I'm like a little kid in a sweet shop when I go Duxford. I just get all giddy and like, oh my God.
There's planes
Lots
and
of-
everything.
Loads of planes. There's fucking Spitfires everywhere, though, there.
Well, there's
You
a
have this
shocker.
thing of, there's not many Spitfires left flying around, are there? You go up to Duxford, it's fucking tons. They're like the Ford Fiesta of the plane world. They are. They're just everywhere.
Many of them got sort of like spoilers on them and stuff like that.
You got like the lights underneath the car that make it glow underneath.
One with the two little blue
Benches.
dots
Have they got
on
any-
the bonnet.
Yeah,
Have they got
lots
hooters,
of
yeah?
Halford spoilers.
Yeah. Some eyelashes on its light bulbs. Yeah.
Oh God. But yeah, that was it. That was my 2 weeks.
Nice.
All fun and games.
Lovely, excellent. Okie dokie. Well, then let's move over to Mr. Barnard's.
Yes.
Which I suspect is the epic one.
Oh, it is the epic one. It is the epic. It's my trip to Nine Worlds, which is a convention which I go to once a year, which is more about just a lot of it is panels, discussion, that sort of thing. And but for me, it's mainly about chatting to people and propping up the bar while dressed in cosplay.
Or as someone described it, I know I'll name no names, but you were whoring it up.
Oh, I wasn't whoring it up. Our problem was probably just very jealous. That's all. I was very popular. What can I say? I'm a very popular type of man.
The exact quote was, "He's strutting about with his thumbs in his belt, and he's whoring it up."
I'm not whoring it up. I never whore it up.
I can only speak as I find. I never went there.
I know.
I have no idea.
I gained a lot of new friends. Yes, I did.
So you whoring it up.
Whoring it up, Jesus.
Were you walking around with your thumbs in your belt?
It's all part of the character, man. It's all part of the character. Gun slung over the shoulder, thumb in the belt. Fuck you, walk. There we go.
So that's a yes then.
Yeah. But I had some, rather coming away from the cosplay bit. I got locked in the men's loo at one point.
Really?
Yeah, I went to the toilet.
Right.
I've got into a cubicle, and I've noticed that the little switch handle thing has come off the lock, but there was this little screw sticking out of the door, right? So I got it and I twisted it, and it locked. It locked the actual the cubicle door. So I did my business, and I've tried to get out, and no matter how much I turn the screw, it's not unlocking the door. So I started texting Dave Baker in the bar, going, "Dave, come and get me, Dave. I'm locked in the toilet, Dave." Didn't get any response for a little while. Then all of a sudden, I heard the door kind of open. This complete stranger walks in, and I went, "Excuse me, can you let me out, please?" I'm locked in the cubicle. The bloke's like, oh, wow, yeah, okay. And I went, "Here, take this. I've got like this thing, like a pocket ninja. It's like a credit card tool." I gave him that, and he managed to get me out that way by unscrewing the lock on the front of the door. So, yeah.
So much for Deathstroke, the Terminator, the ever-ready mercenary.
I'm a tough Terminator, tough mercenary, but I got locked in the bog on a Monday night.
Nice.
So various other adventures I had that I won't go into here.
Okay. Anything notable?
Anything notable?
Anything that you saw? Any of the? Did you go to any of the
I did
talks?
actually go to a few of the panels.
Mm-hmm.
I went to one about diversity in podcasting, which was very good. Let's see what else.
We represent that so much.
Exactly, we do. Yeah, 4 white guys. Well, you've got a beard. I haven't.
Yeah.
Jim's got a beard and glasses like you, but his hair is a different colour. And Elton has no hair.
Yeah.
So I'd say diversity's there.
We're quite diverse in the hirsute department.
I think so. But apart from that, we're about as diverse as a bag of Imperial mints.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what are these are there changes that we have to make?
No, we don't have to.
No?
No.
Okay.
Well, I suppose there are, but, what the hell?
Okay.
I think it's just encouraging people to listen to more podcasts that are not just 4 white guys talking about films and stuff.
Okay.
But it's all good stuff. It's all
Fine.
good. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yep, okay.
There was another one about redemption in sci-fi and fantasy, about characters like on redemption paths, and is it really redemption, or is it they thought, "Oh, I could get caught for doing this. I better be a good guy." That was again very interesting. I think there were 1 or 2 other ones that I went to as well. Of course, I did go to a big screen showing of Labyrinth as well. So I had David Bowie's big shiny crystal balls in my face on a big screen.
Nice.
What can I say?
Ooh, you're fondling my balls.
I'm spinning my balls in my hand.
Ooh.
Look, I've got 4 of them. I'm multi-talented.
It's not really my hands, there's a man behind me.
It's just very cleverly paced. Look at him fondle my balls.
It's just on a camera, but let's not talk about that right now.
I can drink with one hand, he can fondle my balls with that hand, and I can eat a sandwich with this one.
Anything
That's
else?
fairly diverse.
It is.
Yeah, that's fairly diverse. The three-armed ball juggling demographic we've got nailed.
Indeed.
I'm pretty sure we got that.
Indeed.
Mm?
So, but no, all in all, it's a really good Nine Worlds this year.
Yeah.
Possibly, I think it's the best one I've been to so far.
Mm?
Oh, and I did Rock Band as well. Got up and sang up on that. They had like a whole room set aside, and that was good.
What did you do?
Well, leading up to it,
Do?
what didn't I do?
Oh God, no, I didn't. No, go on, don't ask him
And
that.
this is me. No, I got up and did David Bowie's Moon Age Daydream. So I did that, but I had a bit of a sore throat. So instead of sort of like really going for it, all I could do was, I'm a navigator.
I'm a mama papa
Coming for you.
I respect you,
So it was more like sort of, I don't know, Darth Vader does Moon Age Daydream.
Darth Vader does Barry White does Moon Age Daydream.
Yeah.
Right, there you go.
So yeah, but it was fun. It was good.
Cool. And that's pretty much been your week, I imagine, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. It. Oh, and I've got to say, they had the Nine Worlds disco there, which I went out and had a good time dancing at. But they really need more cheese.
Yeah.
I'm standing on a dance floor. I'm realising I'm dancing to the Tetris theme tune. Right?
What's wrong with that? You got the wrong audience here, man. I'm full C sort of full 8-bit music track, my friend.
Yeah, but then they started playing the theme tune to the Raccoons, and it's like,
Yeah.
I think I need to go and get a glass of water now.
Yeah, you can't really dance to it, I'll be honest with you.
No.
Nah. Delta, Commodore 64 Delta, you could get some rocking out of that, but you know, don't think you can really jazz out to Tetris, really.
Mm.
Unless you're going to do the polka or something.
Oh, you mean the little
The troika.
What is that? What the dance is called? Where
Is
they
it
go
the
down and
troika?
up, down and
I
up,
don't
kick the
know.
legs out at the same time.
Yeah, you could probably do that.
No, I couldn't.
No, probably not.
Not with my knees. No.
Not with my knees, no. Ah, cool. Okay then. Well, is that it?
Yeah, that's basically been my
That's
entire
basically been
focus
it.
for the past week.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, just a shout out to a few people that were there, of
Go
course.
on.
Fiendish Dr. Will and Zarish.
Mm-hmm.
Martin Thompson was there. Dave Baker was there. Let's see who else.
Andy Plasty.
Andy Plasticine, of course. Of course he was there. Oh, and there was a listener came up to me
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, she walked up and she went, "Are you Darren?" And I
Mhm.
said, "Well, yes, I am." Now I'm in full Deathstroke.
You hold it up.
I was listen.
Come
I was
on,
in full Deathstroke armor, and she's like,
yeah.
"Are you
Of
Darren?"
course I am, young lady.
Of course I am.
Why, hello. Yeah,
And I
go on.
she said, "Oh, I listened to your podcast." She goes, "I heard your voice over there," and I thought that sounds familiar. And I said, "So who are you?" And she said, "Catherine Mann."
Catherine Mann, yes. She's
Yes.
on the Facebook group, I believe.
Indeed, she is, and she's actually fed back a few times as well.
Yeah, once, twice, yes. I think,
Indeed.
in fact, maybe she's fed back this week.
Is she? Oh, cool.
Well, I've only I vaguely recall seeing the name, so I haven't looked at what's in our list at the moment. I know there's 10 pieces of feedback, but I haven't actually looked. But yes,
Yeah.
I believe that she may have well fed back this week.
And it could all because she met me at Nine Worlds.
God blimey! I'm surprised she fed back at all. I'm surprised she hasn't got like a restraining order. 500 yards, keep away. Anyway,
No, nothing like. No, she came to me. She said hello. That was
No?
it.
Okay,
Said
cool.
it was a bit weird talking to me, being in the same presence as the voice when it's normally on a fucking podcast.
Well, yeah, but luckily you were hidden behind a Deathstroke mask.
No, I wasn't actually. I had it lifted up. I had
Oh.
like this. It was exposing my face.
Oh dear.
Yes, so she
She
could see
still
my
carried on
face.
talking to you.
She certainly did. Yes, as rivulets of sweat. You know,
Yeah.
some fucking nutter.
Some sweaty nutter in a Deathstroke costume. Nice. Hello.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, there you go. Well, hello, Catherine, if you're listening.
Yes. Hello, Catherine. If you are actually, she said doesn't get round to listening so often these days, but
Well, that's understandable.
indeed. And now she's met me. Probably never again.
No, yeah. See if she has fed back, perhaps this week. But
It's probably
you
verbal notice for her handing in a notice as a listener.
know. Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is.
If anybody else would like to hand a notice in as a listener, please do so at feedback at blackdogpodcast.com. Right. But my week. my week has been about up and down. But before I go too far in, let me just get the parish notice for the Cool as Ice thing out of the way.
Okay.
Because we managed to raise over £370 all in. Woo! For that.
Wow.
For the Grenfell thing. And then I got a little receipt notice that said with all the gift aid, because people were doing gift aid, which makes it all tax free, it actually went up to £430.
Fantastic.
So that's how much we raised by talking a load of cobblers to
Brilliant.
Cool as Ice. Of course, it's the lowest downloaded episode since we moved to Libsyn.
But for a very good reason.
But yeah, for a good reason. No one wants to watch that shit again.
Exactly.
But it was good fun. I just wanted to mention good fun. Thank you very much for everyone who donated and everyone who took part.
Yes.
Good fun.
Muchly enjoyed.
Yeah, so that was cool. So the rest of my week, I've had a bit of an up and down on Saturday with parents, which I'm not going to go into. But suffice to say, very busy on Saturday, and came home and I was kind of like, Carol and the kids had gone to this guide camp, so they were away for a week. A bit like you, Elton, they just kind of gone. So I'm sitting there thinking, well, great, I got a whole week to myself, and then basically spent most of Saturday in A&E.
Just about to click download on those specialist movies.
Just about to enter in that special hot code. And then I was in A&E for the better part of the whole day.
Nothing to do with those specialist
Nothing
movies.
to do with the specialist movies. Anyway, came home, so I'm a bit sort of like hyped up. You know when you can't just settle, you can't just watch the telly, you can't just calm down.
Yeah.
And I'm walking around the house, and then finally I'm just like, fuck everything. Fuck this, fuck that, fuck the world. I've got no one to talk to because you're off at Nine Worlds. No, you weren't off at Nine Worlds. No. It was just like shaking my hands at everything. And
you could have come whoring at Nine Worlds with me.
No, it was on the Saturday. It was on the Saturday, so before Nine Worlds.
Ah, right. Okay.
So anyway, and finally, I'm walked into the kitchen, and our kitchen had this sort of 70s lemon yellow walls that looked like someone had basically mixed a fried egg up with some custard creams. It's fucking horrible. And I just walked into the kitchen, and I was just like, you know what? Fuck these walls as well. And right there, was a little tester pot of white paint.
Oh, that was well done, Carol. Golf clap to Carol there. Well done.
So I went, well, you know what? Fuck it. And I started painting on the...
You did a whole kitchen or just a tester pot? Fucking hell, that's great.
No. I started doing it.
Yeah.
And then basically I'd done like a small patch. But I'd done it this kind of rough and ready, like angry fucking. I paint in fear and anger and sort of the space thing, sort of like fear, anger, ow, and pain. Anyway, did the real Brian thing, and I went fucking off on one. Anyway, came down the next morning, and it was like shit. All the carpet tiles that were in the kitchen, all fucked. Paint everywhere. I'm like, okay, so now I have to get kitchen tiles.
Dear, your wife, she is supremely sneaky.
So
I'm more impressed, but the more I'm listening to this.
Yeah, so I ended up getting 150 quid's worth of new tiles for the floor.
She's like Cersei Lannister.
Yeah, exactly. It's all planned way in advance. I ended up having to get new brushes, new paint, and I ended up redecorating the entire fucking kitchen.
Painting, lots of painting, lots of painting, lots of painting, and there's floor tiles, and there's floor tiles, and there's floor tiles, and there's floor tiles.
Anyway, so that was that. Not much in the way of actual accidents.
Really?
Yeah. There was.
I must admit, I don't see any charring anywhere.
No. I mean, I think the closest it got to any kind of accidents was because I had these to cut the tiles. I had this really super sharp Stanley knife. You had to snap. Jesus. You have to snap the end off to make a new blade. So if it gets dull, you snap it.
Right.
Anyway, I'd been snapping them and doing my way round, and I left like a big bundle of those blades just like on the side. Just
so you know, ladies and gentlemen, I've got my fist clenched over my mouth because I don't like the sound of this one. This is going to hurt.
And basically, what I did was I was kind of clearing up clearing up the room. This was kind of clearing up the room. I sort of like swept loads of dirt and detritus that had come off the walls, off the desk, off the table, off the work surface, into my hand, and I just went grab. And it was at that point when the blood was running through my fingers, I was like, kind of, oh, what's that? And then opening it up and like thousands of tiny pinholes all in my palm. I was like, ah! So that was that. So yeah, then I had to repaint that surface.
Oh, Jesus,
because that all went a bit red. And I had to lift up 2 tiles, but luckily I had a spare box. I had a spare box of tiles, so that was handy.
Well, that's all right then.
So the kitchen got done.
So did you, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, exactly. I watched a horror film called Get Out.
Oh, right. How was that?
Which is very good. Very good indeed. I won't spoil anything for you, but essentially it's essentially about a guy who's in love with a girl. He's a sort of black guy and she's a white girl, and then she takes him to meet the parents, and they're in this big kind of palatial home, and you think, oh, it's going to be one of those kind of movies. It's kind of like the parents don't like him and all this kind of thing, but they're really cool with him, like super cool with him, like kind of slightly overly creepily cool with him. And then this one guy comes up to the dude and just goes, get out. And you're like, what's going on? And then everything takes a left turn into oh my fucking god land. And it's a good film, very good film. Bloody can't say much more than that, really. It's very good. So definitely check that out. What else? Then I had my birthday as well, but I went out for a drink on Wednesday and I went out for a drink on Friday.
Yes.
Friday was good. Wednesday was good. Met up with Sarah just casually, kind of just like ta-da, have a drink, do some stuff, just wandering about, and then I got myself my Blade Runner mug. She got me a Blade Runner mug, which is fan-bloody-tastic. Seriously. Yep. My artwork. It's my artwork.
Your artwork.
My artwork that I drew of Rick Deckard, and she put it on the side of a mug, and it's fucking lovely.
Very cool.
It is very cool. It is very cool. I'm very pleased with that, indeed. Super cool. The Art of Doctor Strange, I've got that for
very nice.
And then on Friday, it was like birthday palooza. I only went out for a drink with Dave Probert and Drew and Tracy and Sarah and Pete Organ, and then all of a sudden it's like people are giving me stuff, and like Andy gave me a voucher. Give me a voucher to buy a Saturn V rocket in Lego, which I'm now starting to think isn't actually got anything on it. I think it's a blank voucher. I think it's a big fucking fib.
No, you see, you're wrong. It is for the movie Saturn V starring Kirk Douglas
and Harvey Keitel.
Harvey Keitel. Is it Klaus Kinski in that one?
Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah, that's what it is.
No,
you've been done.
Done that one yet?
No, we haven't done that one yet. No, that's
good fucking reason.
Yeah, I was going to say, Hector the robot.
Do you know what? I went out for a drink that very same night, actually. Yeah. I went out for a drink with a bloke who looked just like you, actually.
Did you?
Probably won't fucking mention me on his podcast either.
Well, give it over. Give me a second. I never finished
what
the
am I,
fucking
Scotch
story.
Mist?
I never finished the fucking story.
I had to travel all the way on the district line. 12 stops.
All
Thank
right.
you very much to get to you.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what.
Suffered.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I had to stop my whoring, apparently.
Well, it's okay, because someone turned up looking just like you, said that you were going to buy me a birthday drink, and then fucked off once I bought around.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Good timing.
So, yeah, there you go. Anyway, so you turned up, and then and there was Dave Probert, and Andy, and basically, the Saturn V rocket. I don't think there's anything on that voucher because the Saturn V rocket's now no longer available until October.
Oh, we'll get your order in now then.
No, you can't pre-order it.
What?
You can't pre-order. No. So I think it doesn't exist anymore. I think it's gone out of business. I think they've stopped making them, and I think that voucher's got nothing on it.
Well, then you know what you buy with that, don't you? You buy the Ghostbusters fire station with that.
I'd need at least 4
really
vouchers to buy the Ghostbusters fire station.
No, hold on. 200 quid. Isn't it?
And then some.
Really?
Keep going. Yeah.
Fucking hell! I'm going to look that up right
It's
now.
actually cheaper to get a mortgage than it is to buy
cheaper
a
to
fire
buy
station.
the real fire station than it is to buy the
Yeah.
Lego version.
What else? What else did I do? Yeah, I bought a game. I bought a video game, which is a very quick one, called Overcooked, which basically is a 4-player on the screen game where you all play chefs.
Okay.
And all that happens is the menu comes along saying, make us a hamburger, make us some soup, make us this, that, and the other. And then what you do is you have to get the ingredients, chop the ingredients, put the ingredients in a bowl, and then in the cooker, and then basically serve them, and then clean the plates when they come back. Seems very simple until you try and do it, at which point it turns into absolute chaos. And I think in a typical sort of demonstration of how good I am at cooking, the kitchen was on fire after level 1. And it's silly. It's very silly. It's done by the people who do things like Psychonauts and what's the other ones? Oh God, doesn't matter. It's humorous, it's funny, it's silly, and it's one of those games where you start playing it and everyone's got a good idea. Okay, player 1, you'll chop the onions. Player 2, you'll do the cooking. Player 3, you'll do the prep. Mm-hmm. And then after about 5 minutes, it's like, why do you get the fucking onions? You fucking just put it on the plate. Put it on the fucking plate.
So you know how fucking Gordon Ramsay feels.
Yeah. But it's amazing. I was playing it with the kids, and it took me about 2 minutes before literally all 3 of us had the hump with each other.
Really?
Yeah, it was literally, yeah, but you didn't lay out plates. Yeah, but you didn't chop the fucking onions. Well, you didn't clean the plates. We didn't have any plates to load anything up on. Well, you didn't deliver it right. Oh, the menus came through too wrong. You never got the ingredients. Ah!
You don't chop shallots like that, you stupid git.
Exactly. So, that was that. So, yeah. And then yesterday, I had my birthday, which was cool. Ended up eating some hamburgers at Ed's Diner because you know what? The kids and Carol, they're all sitting there and they say, do you want to go out for lunch? Go somewhere cool that you like to eat? No. Yep. Okay. Sounds good. Like, can we go to this restaurant? Oh, that's gone out of business. That's it? Oh, okay. What about this restaurant? Oh, no. That restaurant's moved venues. It's like miles and miles and miles away. Oh, okay.
Where's this you were going to...
there was one called Project Pie, which is like a make your own pizza kind of thing, which is just fun. And I end up with a pizza that's just like 99% chilies.
So it's Build-A-Bear, but for pizzas.
Exactly. But that one moved.
So like every other pizza restaurant where you can build your own pizza?
No. This one you literally go along, like they give you. You pick like a dough and then they split that out into a big pizza, and then you go, well, I want some garlic on that dough, and I want some cheese on that dough, and I want this on that dough, and then you kind of move along, and then they're like, right, okay, what vegetables do you want? You go, well, I'll have some chilies, and I'll have some more chilies, and I'll have some red chilies, and I'll have some these chilies, and I'll have some onions, and then you move along to the meat, and they go, well, I'll have a bit of pulled pork and a bit of chicken and a bit of this, that, and the other. And then you come along and then they just sort of lift it up with a fork truck and then set fire to it. And
petrol.
Exactly.
Match.
And so I like it because I can just pick like a mad pizza that just no one else would make. And that apparently moved. Then another one I wanted to go to had shut down. And so I'm like looking at the family, I'm like, well, what's available? And they all look around. It's Diners Ed's Diners there. I'm like, oh, okay. So we went to Ed's Diner, and compared to Five Guys, which I have been dining on recently, Ed's Diner's like eating a piece of sawdust stuck in a bump. And
bum?
Well, yes, you could say that. Yeah, it's sitting there right next to Elton's spider, and then basically I had a massive bout of like trapped wind because I was eating that and a peanut butter milkshake, and then I just spent the rest of the afternoon on the sofa going, oh, like that. And then I thought, well, okay. Then the kids are going, like, let's play games. And okay, let's play games. So I started playing games, and it's like, oh, we're bored of that. Turn it over. So we turn it over, and then it's like School of Rock. And it's like, they're going, yay, School of Rock. So I'm like, okay, watch School of Rock. So I didn't have a birthday. Everyone else had a birthday on my behalf. I just lay on the sofa desperately praying for a fart.
Did you double check that these restaurants had actually shut down? They just weren't kind of corralling you.
Don't start that.
No,
don't start that. Anyway, present wise, I also got from Pete. I got a Judge Dredd book, which is superb, called Dark Judges. Which, even if you're not into Judge Dredd, is like a really good like alien on silent running ship with some zombies in it, which is fantastic. I got the thing from Andy. I got the what else did I get? And then Carol got me a Bluetooth speaker, and then she got me a full London inclusive Cineworld card.
So you now have the ability, like us.
Yes, I have the ability to go into any cinema at any time, and then that's it. So now regular cinema.
Welcome to the Society of Cardholders.
Yes. So we got hold of one of those last night through work, which was really good. So for London, for London inclusive. Through the work perks thing, 160 quid.
Very nice.
Very nice. So I'm very pleased about that.
Mm-hmm.
So all in all, not bad haul, not bad time. Just like I say, I just could have done without the gastric bloating that sort of basically dominated my entire Monday afternoon. Kind of go, my stomach's gonna explode. But every story ends on a good note, and mine ended on a high C as I went.
Play that funky music.
And on that note, let's talk about Labyrinth.
Oh, crackling rosy tinted specs. We're gonna take us an old film and then review. That's what we'll do. We do it for you. I can turn invisible if I try real hard.
Right, okay. Well, here we are on the other side of the jingle, and it's time for Labyrinth. Or should we say Labyrinth? Oh, Sarah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Labyrinth is a 1986 British-American adventure musical dark fantasy film directed by Jim Henson. It's executive produced by George Lucas. And based upon a conceptual designs by Brian Froud. Was it Froud or Froud? Froud, okay.
Froud like Shroud.
Froud like Shroud. And Proud. And Cloud. The film revolves around 15-year-old Sarah, Jennifer Connelly's quest to reach the centre of an enormous otherworldly maze to rescue her infant brother Toby, who Sarah wishes away to Jareth, the Goblin King, played by David Bowie. With the exception of Connelly and Bowie, most of the film's significant characters were played by muppets, produced by Jim Henson's Creature Workshop. The film started as a collaboration between Henson and Froud, with the idea of the film being discussed between them following a screening of their previous collaboration, The Dark Crystal. Terry Jones of Monty Python fame wrote the first draft of the film's script early in 1984, drawing on Froud's sketches for inspiration. Various other scriptwriters, including Laura Phillips, who had previously written episodes of Fraggle Rock, George Lucas, Dennis Lee and Elaine May subsequently rewrote and made additions to the screenplay, although Jones received the film's sole screenwriting credit. Labyrinth was shot on Upper Nyack Piermont and in New York, and at Elstree Studios and West Wickham Park in the United Kingdom. The New York Times reported Labyrinth had a budget of $25 million, and the film grossed, Darren?
I'd say 60 million.
Okay. Jim?
52 million.
Okay. Elton?
75.
Okay, well, the film was a box office disappointment, grossing only $12 million. Yeah, the commercial failure demoralised Henson to the extent that his son Brian remembers at the time that the film's release was one of the most difficult periods in his father's career. It would be the last feature film directed by Henson before his death in 1990. So this, no, I'm not going to say that. Although it was met with a mixed critical response upon its initial release, Labyrinth has since garnered a large cult following. A 4-volume comic sequel to the film, Return to Labyrinth, was published by Tokyo Pop between 2006 and 2010. In 2012, Archaea Studio Press announced that they were developing a graphic novel prequel to the film, and in January 2016 it was announced that the reboot was in development, which was later denied by screenwriter Nicole Perlman, describing it instead as a spin-off in the same fictional universe. Yeah. Anyway, let's go past a very, 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 very large wiki. Critical reception. The film's mixed to positive reviews on the critics. On Rotten Tomatoes, it features as 68% positive, with the general consensus stating that while it's arguably more interesting on a visual level, Labyrinth provides further proof that director Jim Henson's boundless imagination, while on Metacritic it had a weighted average of the critics' scores of 50 out of 100. While acknowledging that Labyrinth was made with infinite care and pains, Roger Ebert gave the film 2 stars out of 4 as he felt the film never really comes alive. Ebert said that the film was set in an arbitrary world, none of the events had any consequences and robbed the film of any dramatic tension. Gene Siskel also reviewed Labyrinth in the Chicago Tribune and was highly negative. He referred to it as it's an awful film with a pathetic story and not too complicated plot and a visually ugly style. Siskel objected to the film's violent plot writing. The sight of a baby in peril is one of the sleaziest gimmicks a film can employ to gain our attention, but Henson goes and does it. Other critics were more positive. Catherine Buxton found that the film had excitement and thrills enough for audiences of all ages, as well as fun and sometimes slightly naughty sense of humour. Bruce Bailey admired the film's script, stating that Terry Jones had drawn on his dry wit and bizarre imagination to come up with a script that transforms these essentially familiar elements and plot structures into something that fairly throbs with new life. It's all going on. Lots of stuff about legacy. The film was also adapted into a Commodore 64 and Apple II home computer game called Labyrinth, the computer game. That's about it, really. Oh, and it drew on some things about Alice in Adventures in Wonderland, which is also another game. Anyway, that's it. I'll leave it there because the wiki is frankly fucking gargantuan, which should tell me about the popularity of this film. Right, okay. So, we've all seen it, yes? Before?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah? Jim?
Yep.
Cool. Okay. Well, I know you have. You did a commentary on it, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
So, anyway, right, okay. Well, then let's just stick to the old format. So we'll go straight to Elton. What did you think of it, sir? What do you think of Labyrinth?
Okay, I went into this having seen it a couple of times in my younger days, and I think I liked it back then. Now, I say I think it's because I was around friends' house. I never put it on my house. I never owned it, never had a copy of it, never taped it off the TV or anything like that. But I remember having friends that had this on VHS and used to pop round there and it'd be on and we'd sit there and watch it. And I thought I liked it, but never really paid much attention to it. It was never a film that I would put on myself. And I went into this, I took all the rose-tinted specs off just in case, and really, really surprised to find out that I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I don't know where that came from. I think I was just having too much fun with it because, you know, when you guys do the impressions of Bowie, which I flipping love, and everyone else does their impressions of Bowie. And this is the first time, I think, that I've really heard that type of voice from him.
Weird staccato voice that just keeps rising and falling like the waves.
Are you sure, Sarah?
Well, laugh.
Don't disobey me, Sarah. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
I'll put you in the bog of eternal stench. Carry on, sorry.
Yeah, that's the first time I've really, really noticed it. All other interviews that he's done, I've sat there going, I don't get it. I can't hear it. Really trying to pay attention to it and never heard it. But in this, it was just bang. It hit me in the face. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to enjoy this.
I think that's a really sort of like, the comment there hits you in the face. That's a great one to associate with Labyrinth, especially David Bowie.
Yeah. Because
there are points when I sat there going, oh, you can have someone's eye out with that.
Yeah.
It won't be released in 3D, put it that way.
Yeah. Hoggle got an eyeful. Anyway, carry on, sorry.
Yeah, I noticed that as well this time round. I'd never noticed that before.
It casts its own fucking shadow at one point. It's like you could
It's
tell
like a sundial.
Exactly, you can tell the time by it.
The clock's almost struck 13, Sarah. What's you gonna do?
It's almost at 12 o'clock when it'll go dong.
You should go over there.
Yes.
No, I'm not pointing with my hands.
Yeah.
I can hang a tea towel off it. Look, watch me balance it.
Yeah. Look, I think I'm going to have a barbecue. Anyway, carry on.
Look, Sarah, I think you dropped your keys. Oh, dear. I thoroughly enjoyed this for a couple of reasons. One, Bowie, I had lots of fun with him. Two, the animation of everything I thought was, as you would expect from Jim Henson, absolutely top notch. And I thought it would have dated. I really was expecting this to be really dated. And I didn't get that. I was chuckling in places. I felt Ludo was amusing at times, especially when he was going, smells. that just tickled me. That was brilliant. I just wasn't expecting it. And characters like the little dog that rides a dog.
Sir Didymus.
Yeah. I totally forgot about him. And it is a simple story, but I, for one, don't think that the kid or the baby was in that much peril. He looked like he was having a whale of a time. And frankly, would probably had a better childhood where he was with the Goblinkin because his sister clearly didn't want him around. Yeah, all that being said, I think I just had a really, really good time with it. It really surprised me. And I'm glad I've seen it again. I wanted to show the kids it, though. And I told Kimmy that I was, especially Kimmy, because that would be right down her ballpark. You know, the teenager would just be like, stomp off. That wouldn't work. But I wanted to show her it and sit down, and I told her that I was putting it on. I put it on, sat down, and then half the film had gone by the time I'd realised, oh, she's not in the room now. Damn, better go upstairs, let her know. And she wasn't fussed about it at all, which was a little bit disappointing. But I thought, oh, no, screw you, losers, and just enjoyed it on my own. And, yeah, I was impressed. I thought as I said before, the animation of the puppets was really good. The matte paintings as well. I think there was quite a lot of matte paintings in there.
Yeah.
They look really bloody good as well.
Okay.
But I personally thought, and there's lots of little tricks I forgot about when she walked through when she spoke to the worm and said, oh, there's a doorway right over there. I totally forgot about that scene. And the way that she's
go that way.
Yeah, that way leads to the castle.
Come in, have a cup of tea, meet the missus.
Have a cup of tea. Silly little things like that I just thoroughly enjoyed. So yeah, it's I think we're going to flash back on this, but yeah, it's I had a really good time with it.
Okay, cool. Okie dokie. Well then, what about you then, Jim?
Okay. Well, to give my history with the film, I saw this on its first release. Now, I'd really enjoyed the other Froud and Henson collaboration, The Dark Crystal. And I was very big into Brian Froud's artwork. And indeed, I still am. He's a superb artist. Labyrinth, I found, I mean, when I came out, I would have been 15, 16. And very quick at that, this isn't for me. This isn't like a fully fledged dark fantasy world like the Dark Crystal was. This is aimed at someone younger than me. And as it was, I mean, I took my little sister who's 7 years younger to see it. And so for me, it's kind of, for this movie, I've always had that thing of kind of, I was too old for it when it came out. And I very much see a lot of it through my sister's eyes because she was just the perfect age for it. Whereas me, it's kind of, at 16, it's kind of, I like the Froud designs. I like the puppetry. I like the FX wizardry. I mean, Hoggle, I think, is a very good animatronic character with the expressions it's capable of. It's still quite, wow, that's really good work, fellas.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of the kind of visual designs in it, like the pit of hands and stuff like that. And what was I saying? Where am I going with this? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, at the time, it was always kind of funny to see David Bowie in this ridiculous wig and poncing about. That was kind of early irony humor for me, as it were. And I mean, so I enjoyed it, but at the same time, it wasn't for me. However, over the years, I've seen it a few times. It's kind of, well, I still always think The Dark Crystal's a better movie, and Labyrinth does suffer from them. Kind of, well, let's tone it down, because the problem with The Dark Crystal, well, that didn't do better business, was that it scared the crap out of all the kids. Now, Labyrinth, I mean, I did a commentary on it last year, and I went into a lot of the making of, and you find there's this big tug of war over the script of how it was.
Yeah.
Veering between like more serious and more comedic and more sort of fluffy and more musical to more straight fantasy. And I mean, one of the things I've always appreciated about it that kind of stopped it just being twee is that you have that Terry Jones input and those sort of, it's riffing off Where the Wild Things Are. It's riffing on Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland, but you've got this subversion to it. that just occasionally bursts through the Terry Jones touch. Like you first meet Hoggle and he's pissing in a pond. Yeah. And it's kind of, that still tickles me, and that humor always still works for me. Now, obviously, when I did the commentary last year, I went quite in depth sort of with it. And actually, you know, this viewing for me, when I sat down, I thought, really, it's a bit too soon for me to come back to this film. Yeah. Because I've covered it in so much depth last year. However, almost annoyingly this time, I kind of actually really enjoyed the film again. Although it is very apparent to me where you can see the tug of war over the script. And there are bits that have never worked for me. The fiery sequence always struck me as being kind of some leftover bits of the Muppet Show or Fraggle Rock that shouldn't have been in there. Yep. The songs in the main, I don't think, are strong enough or enough of them. And it's kind of this sort of only a quasi-musical. Yeah. But at the same time, it's kind of, on this viewing, I put together a lot of things, and I understand why this film has such a place in people's hearts and why it speaks to people, because it's one of a subset of these 80s fantasy films that are ostensibly these nonsense children's adventures, but they're actually like bizarre psychodramas when you actually watch them as an adult and you start to see the themes. Well, like Drop Dead Fred is another one. But in this, it's kind of, I'll go into the full tinfoil hat a bit later, but this does work like a proper fairy tale. And I remember its initial release, and down there, it has been slated for being, well, it's just bits of Alice in Wonderland and bits of Where the Wild Things Are, with a sprinkle of sort of Python Junior humour and some Muppets.
Yeah.
But actually, this film works because it really does work like a proper fairy tale. It's very symbolic, and they are devilishly clever with seeding some clues in there. And it kind of, I understand now why kind of it really, people really absolutely love this movie who saw it at just the right age, because it works like a good fairy tale does, and it communicates things in a way that's completely, it shortcuts the conscious mind. And it goes straight to the unconscious, goes straight to your emotional center. It's like Red Riding Hood.
Yes.
That's a fairy story that tells kids, essentially, there are men out there who are wolves who will fuck you and eat you. That's if you look at the original version of Red Riding Hood, there's no woodcutter at the end, and the wolf does considerably more than eat her. And that was the, it's not like a fable or a parable where someone comes at the end and goes, and this all meant this. Fairy stories are a lot more undiluted, pure imagery that have a message, and they don't need it explained because the message just seeps in. And Labyrinth is actually like that. And from this viewing, I've come away with a fresh appreciation of the film I didn't actually have, because suddenly all these bits just fit together, and it goes, you clever sods. And it's kind of bang.
Nice. Cool. Okay. So overall, you appreciated it more this time then, from the sound.
I did. I think there are bits where I think, as much as I like Ludo, and it's kind of like if your dog could talk, he would talk like Ludo, and it's funny, but his character doesn't really do anything. And there's kind of there's a section from the Bog of Eternal Stenches up to reaching the Goblins in Castle with the Fireys, where the film just becomes, it gets out of the labyrinth and it loses something.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I noticed on this viewing that I always thought it always looked quite stagey compared to Dark Crystal, that really did a better job of creating a world. Whereas in this, I noticed the staginess is actually part of the conceit, for a reason. Partly is to be not too frightening for the kids, to make it look unreal. But there's other reasons too, and there's other reasons why kind of all through the film, as almost Easter eggs, there are these hidden images of Jareth.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah. There's one by her. There's one by Amira as the actual statue. Then there's one of David Bowie and her mother.
That's crucial.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's also hidden ones as well, of kind of, you get a long shot of the labyrinth and you can see his face picked out in the pattern.
Yeah, and there's also one of him on the ladder.
Yes.
When the bit of the ladder drops away, and there's one of him there.
Yeah, but there's actually all reasons sort of why that's seeded through. But I'll read out the tinfoil theory of what it all means later. I'll let someone else jaw on.
Fair enough. Okie dokie. Right then. Yes, we've lost Elton, but he said carry on, so we're carrying on. So what about you then, Darren? What did you think of Labyrinth?
What did I think of Labyrinth? I've got to say, the thing that sticks out about this film to me is the practical effects side of this. Just barring the story just for a minute. It's amazing how much detail there is in some of these puppets that they use.
Yeah.
Hoggle being the most impressive one.
Yes.
I think just because of the way it reacts to things facially and the way it's nicely timed with the script and everything like that.
Yeah.
It just shows you how skillful the Henson Workshop actually is. So yeah, and there's other little bits. So like the some of those, the goblins on horseback with the armour.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I like those as well. And
the Bernie Cliftons?
Yeah, those ones. I like the design of those and the chaos, the sort of like chaotic movement, and the fact that they're all over the fucking shop as well. It's as you say, Jim. It's very sort of it's very Gilliam, really very Gilliam-esque, that sort of thing. Yeah, their little sort of like voices and the. Even down to the worm as well. Hello. Cockney worm.
Yeah.
Why don't you come in and meet the missus? Have a cup of tea.
Yep.
I like the big gate of the gas. The big gate of the castle. If you look, there's a pair of milk bottles outside.
Is there? So yeah. Overall, I actually liked it. I thought it was okay. It's a pretty straightforward story for kids, I thought. So it does its job there. I don't know if, did Elton say he'd watched it before?
Yes,
he had. Right. I don't know if most adults coming to this for the first time would actually like it. I think it really is aimed for kids. I don't think there's really that much in it for adults. So there's that. Let's see now. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. One practical effect that I really did like, and they do this all in one shot, and I want to know how they fucking well did it.
Yeah.
Right? You've got the wall of a cave, right? It's when Sarah falls down through the hole with the helping hands. And she's got...
You mean the pervy hands?
The pervy hands, yeah, the groping hands.
The groping hands.
As I called them.
Yeah.
So she gets dropped by the groping hands into a pit.
Yes.
And Hoggle is there. Okay?
Yeah.
So what he does is he walks over to this plank of wood in the floor, lifts it up, puts it against the wall, opens it, and it goes into a room. Then he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I've done the wrong thing. You see him close the door, pull it open from the other side, and it's out into the daylight. And it's all done in one shot. Yeah. So it's like, how did you do that?
Yeah. Well, they're changing the background. The background's like on a trolley because
so
you can
it's spinning.
Because as soon as you saw him close the door, if you look around the edge, you suddenly see it go white. It's like they move it away and then they wheel a new one back in. It's literally just like a little corridor section on wheels.
But then, how did it open from the other side?
Oh well, because that's just the skill of the guy holding the door. There's no
right, because there's hinges on both sides of it. You mean?
No. It's literally he just puts it on the door and then he opens it with one hand, and then he closes it and he opens it with the other hand. It's just a trick. I can do it with this. Here we go. This isn't really podcast material, but so he puts the door on the wall, then he uses his hand to open it. Yeah, right. Then he closes it and he goes, right, okay, no, sorry, I've got it the wrong way. There you go. And he's using the other hand.
Right. Okay.
So he's basically his left hand is opening the door to the right, and then his right hand's opening the door to the left.
Right. Okay. It looked like it was
this
pretty
came
solid.
Like the riddle of the doorkeepers to me.
Oh God, no! The riddle of the doorkeepers was the only thing I figured out because I knew that old trick from years ago.
Well, that's an old riddle. That is, just sort of like ask both of them the same question.
Yeah. The only time it becomes confused is when they try and explain it for the audience and have the actual fucking doors trying to explain it. It's like, no, just shut the fuck up and just trust we knew what we were talking about. But anyway,
Sarah herself is just. She's the most annoying thing about the film. She's just not happy with anything. No. That's it. You try and please her. I mean, I felt sorry for Jareth by the end of it. It's like, I've done all this for you, Sarah. And that's another thing as well. Something about David Bowie. It's David Bowie doing a David Bowie impression. Yeah. That's what it is, right? If you listen to it, it's like it sounds like every other impression we've done. Is David Bowie. I wonder how I'd sound to an impersonator. Yes. I'd probably sound a bit like this.
Well, the thing, I've got a theory about that, because, there's a thing about impressions, is that impressionists all say this, it's really hard to do an impression of someone until someone's done it. Yes. And then everyone can do it after that.
It's like a magic spell.
The David Bowie impression everybody does, the first instance of that I can remember was on Steve Wright in the Afternoon. Where he used to pretend to ring up a character that sounded like Bowie and do mock Bowie jingles in that famous voice we all do. Yeah. But that was around the time of Labyrinth. Yeah. And I think some impressionists hearing Bowie doing this very arch delivery in Labyrinth, that's where, that's how you do David Bowie. You can do an impression of him. And it snowballed from there. So we are all doing Bowie in Labyrinth.
The first impression I heard of him, I think, might have actually come before Labyrinth came out. Go on. There was a bloke who said, David Bowie's new song, David Bowie, Where's My Sausages? And he goes,
that was Radioactive, wasn't it?
Was it? Was, Where's my sausages? They're not where I left them yesterday. Yeah. So that was the first time I ever heard a successful sort of David Bowie impression.
Yeah, am I floating on a cupcake?
That's it. Yeah, that was well.
That's it. Anyway, yeah, go on, carry on.
So, yeah, in general, I thought it was okay. I thought it was, it was an okay film. It was not the best I've ever seen, but I mean, I've only seen it twice. I think that was or maybe 3 times actually. So I remember going to the Labyrinth ball at the Prince Charles, where people come along in costume. The guy who was presenting that, by the way, had his giraffe costume on. And he had a pillow shoved down the front of his tights, something like that. It was just really, really over the top.
It was full Milli Vanilli, was it?
Yeah, or it's like a plush goblin or something like that. Lived in
troll.
his pants. There we go.
Little troll.
Little troll. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for me, are you done?
Yeah. I'm done.
Cool,
go.
For me, I did not like this at all.
No.
I tell you what, I have only seen this once before, and that was when I was going through my Muppets aren't that bad moment. When I had a kind of, I was still apologising, still in apologist mode for Return of the Jedi. When I was
Farscape, you like that as well?
Fuck Farscape. No, fuck Farscape. Can I just say that for the record? Fuck that, and it's made up shit. And suddenly we've just brought out another thing that can just shit diamonds. It's like, it's the thing that fucking Futurama took the piss out of by having Nibbler shit black hole matter. It's just fuck off, Farscape. You want to just make a TV show about just anything that could do anything whenever we want it to do anything, then there's no fucking stakes. So fuck Farscape. But I was going through this kind of, Muppets aren't too bad. I'd watched Return of the Jedi. I wasn't too happy with Return of the Jedi, but it ended well, and I thought, fine, okay. But I was kind of trying to square it up in my head about Muppets, because the one thing with Muppets is, even though in the Muppet Show they're fun, but as you can't get past the fact that no matter how good they are done, and they are done very, very well. And I even had the honour of going to the Jim Henson Creature Workshop studio that was in Camden for a while.
Yeah.
I actually got to go there, which was amazing for work. I didn't actually work there. We were trying to pitch something from cartoon to them, and it never worked out. But we went there for a meeting, and it was just like getting shown around that fucking workshop was like, wow, just amazing. Just purely from a skill and technical point of view, it's amazing. But you can't get past the fact that it still looks like a puppet. It moves like a puppet. And, especially in the case of Labyrinth, when they're jumping around, and literally you can see them sort of floating to the ground because the puppeteer doesn't really want to drop the puppet. It's kind of, so it kind of has this kind of, you weigh a ton, except for the last 2 inches before you touch the ground, where you very lightly touch the ground.
I think when I did my commentary, I did comment on that, kind of like they should have just sped up some of those wirework scenes.
Yeah, exactly, and especially with the fireys, for God's sakes. Okay, fine, you've made a puppet and you've got some green screen, but you've done the green screen badly, and you were clearly just a bloke in a green screen holding a pair of eyes, floating them around, and now you're holding a head. I mean, it's like, just do me a favour. But anyway, so
that's probably my least favourite scene.
It was from the instant you saw that shot, it was just like, she's got a green fringe. She looks like she's about to do a weather report on 1980s BBC One.
Wincy Willis.
No, it wasn't that well done.
No, it wasn't really.
Yeah, when I saw it at the cinema, I was going, oh, God, that's awful. Chroma key, as we used to call it back then.
Chroma key, that's right, yeah. Well, it's still called Chroma key. Yeah, it was just, it's done a lot better now. But, so, yeah, I was kind of post Dark Crystal when I was watching this thing. And the thing with Labyrinth is, you can watch it one of two ways. You can either watch it and go, it's all in her head. End of story. Because every single bit of that film is actually marked out in her room, which it goes around in the kind of detail which is usually reserved for the opening of fucking Back to the Future. In Back to the Future, when it kind of follows that clock, and it's going...
Yeah.
And then you kind of follow this kind of Heath Robinson machine round. Well, they do that in Labyrinth in the very opening bit, just after we've seen Sarah go and strop in her room. And it's like everything. The Escher maze, the fucking Bog of Eternal Stench, the fucking book is called Labyrinth, the Jareth is everywhere, there's goblins, there's knights, everything. Every single bit of her room essentially is saying, here's the plot. And then she even does the last line of the film into the camera as the opening line of the film. So it's like, well, okay, fine. So you can read it as it's all in her head. She's gone upstairs, she's dropped, and that's the end of it. And then, or you can do it as another way, and you go, right, okay, it's a fairy tale. In which case, fine, you're on fairy tale rules.
Yeah.
But it's... The thing with fairy tales is as weird and as out there as they can be, and as kind of dream logic as they can be, there's just... You have to have some logic. You have to have some narrative thread. I mean, Hoggle just would be wherever she needed to be, no matter how far she fucking got lost. It's like, falls down a hole. Hoggle's there. Goes off into some dream world, forgetting everything.
Yeah, but he is working for Jareth, who can see wherever she is.
Then why does Jareth not know she's coming? Why does Jareth not know that she suddenly remembers everything? If Jareth's all-seeing, suddenly he needs to be reminded by some bloke who looks like fucking Alan Moore with a chicken on his head.
Maybe he was playing with his balls and he lost his concentration.
Well, he wasn't. He was holding the kid. But the thing
maybe he was holding his kid with one hand and playing with his balls with the other.
Well, there you go.
Suddenly it turns into a totally different film.
Yeah, I was going to say, suddenly it's completely banned from Radio 1.
Indeed.
Anyway, so it's just like, if you want to follow dream logic, that's fine. Hoggle's here, Hoggle's there. Hoggle breaks into the castle when they can't break into the castle. 1 minute they're all standing outside and he's up on the walls. I mean, it's just like, how does he get to any of these places? If that's the case, then why isn't he taking them the direct route? Because he clearly can be wherever the script demands he be. And then there's one bit where she ends up in that fucking junkyard, and it's like suddenly Sir Didymus is there and Ludo's there and fucking everyone else, Uncle Tom Cobley and everyone is there, and it's like,
well, there's that thing.
How
about
did they find her?
You talk
Why
about
were they even
it
looking
being
for
in
her?
a head, because that whole scene there, I tell you, that is a metaphor for baggage you carry through life, and it's the whole. As she's sitting there, she's getting more stuff from her past added to her.
Yeah, and then realizing it's all junk. But that doesn't.
It's not important.
But that doesn't explain. That doesn't explain suddenly where all the characters have suddenly materialized from when she's like literally outside the gates of the Goblin Castle. Why did they even know she'd be there? She vanished and they were in a forest. It's like, and
it's a magical kingdom.
Exactly, and that's what I don't like. I mean, it's not that it's
I'm the goddamn Batman.
Exactly, it's the Batman God syndrome. It's just, we need this to happen. It's going to happen. How does it happen? And then just wave your shoulders, waggle your arms, and just go, whatever, here's a song by David Bowie. And his fucking songs, let's just get that out there, all right? I love the man, I love his work, but I love his music, rather. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But when you do a musical, the idea of a musical is the musical has to tell a bit of a story, doesn't it? The music comes in, and it kind of continues the narrative. What happens with David Bowie in the Remember the Babe? Nothing. He's just sitting there, and he just suddenly goes, remember the babe? What babe? The babe with the power. What power? The power of the voodoo. Who do you do? Remember the babe? And it's just like, you're like, where the fuck's this just come from? And what are you telling me? Nothing. And then we have a big song and dance and a stunt baby on a wire, and it's just like, that's 10 minutes of my life I'm never getting back. And then it just feels like they made a whole lot of stuff and then just went, what are we going to do with this? Well, fuck it, just stitch it together. They'll watch any old shit. It's got Muppets in it. And it's like, we're walking through the forest. Here are some creatures which are trying to pull her head off. Right? And nothing. There's no threat, no disaster, no nothing. And then when she runs, she's in trouble. Oh no, how's she going to get out of this? Hoggle has magically appeared upon a wall with some rope from nowhere for no reason whatsoever. It's just like, just fuck off. I just watched the whole film just going, just fuck off. And it's like I say, I know that this is going to be one of those films where people have seriously got the rose-tinted specs on, and I'm not expecting to be the man who's standing here and going, "See, I was right." I expect to be the lone voice on this one.
You probably will be, yeah.
But just because I'm the lone voice doesn't mean to say that I think I'm wrong. I watched that whole film.
It's a Jor-El complex for you, isn't it? Yeah.
Well,
No, of course the planet's not going to blow up.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, fuck it. I've sent my kid into space, you say? No,
I told you.
Yeah, I was fucking... yeah, fucking told... Yeah.
I told you.
Yeah. I regret nothing. I was right. Anyway, so yeah, I found it a tedious slog from start to finish, and the whole fight in the Goblin Castle, with all these soldiers and what have you running up and down, it's like it would have been threatening if they had done anything, but they didn't. They just did nothing. The only thing that I enjoyed out of the whole film was the bit when Ludo got that bloody huge rock that dropped down on that thing with a head for a cannon.
But that was by itself. That did the rock. When he called it in, he didn't roll it out. It rolled in by itself.
Yeah.
He just went, have it.
Yeah, exactly. But it still
I
made me
laughed
laugh
at that bit.
because it had a Monty Python. Nobody's to stone anybody until I blow this whistle moment. And it's just that was quite funny. And also the stone faces. Oh, can I at least say something? Well, my job. I've been lying here for 100 years and I haven't said a word. And it's like,
go on then.
Go on then. You are going the wrong way. Despair. I mean, again, all that did to me was echo. Oh, you broke my bloody foot. You broke my vow of silence. You brought forth Juniper pushing down my bloody fruit. Yeah.
You call him Big Nose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So that just sounded like the hermit scene from Life of Brian. And yeah, when I started watching, there was 4 of us watching. Carol was watching it. Lisa was watching it. She didn't want to watch it, but we said,
okay.
No, we think you'll dig this because you're 10. This might be the sort of thing for you. Katie was watching it. By the end of it, Carol had gone off to do the washing. Lisa was watching something completely different on BBC iPlayer.
Yeah.
Katie was just lying there going, what's going on? Why am I watching this? Can I watch something else? And I'm like, no, I've got to watch this to the end. And then when it ended, all I heard, and now bear in mind, this is my lovely 13-year-old daughter, I just heard under her breath, oh, for fuck's sake. And then it was like, what did you say? Nothing? And she's like, I'm going to go and watch Rick and Morty. And off she went, and that was it. Didn't see her for the rest of the day. So,
right.
So we were singularly unimpressed. But like I say, on the plus side, the designs of the puppets, the Brian Froud, the Brian Froud stuff, designs are very good. It's like him and Thomas Bonner, is it? Is that another one like that? Jim?
Yeah.
Thomas Bonner, that kind of design stuff, I love. I think it's really nice and imaginative and looks lovely. Mm-hmm. As you say, the animation on the puppets, on most of the Muppets, was very good. Although, as you say, Jim, speed up the drops for fuck's sake. But the whole thing as metaphor, or it's just like, yeah, okay, she wants to move on. She's got to give up all of her, childish things. She's becoming a woman, all this kind of thing. It's like, fine. There's lots of ways to do that, but let's not do it with descending down a tunnel full of gropey hands, or let's not try and represent it in some kind of like sparkly ball that she gets out. She's eating the peach. She's been corrupted.
What about the peach?
Yeah, what about the peach? Make her eat the peach, or she'll be in the bog of eternal stench. I mean, and for the bog of eternal stench, can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
Liquid is still on the rocks.
Yeah.
All right?
I know.
All right.
I kind of said the same thing while watching it.
Yeah.
I don't think to the person who I went with them.
Yeah.
Like,
wading through dog shit and stepping in dog shit, same thing. Except one
I
need.
had that problem years and years ago when I first watched it.
And that's the thing. I mean, I get it. As Jim's rightly pointed out, it's a thing that's purely for children, and watching it as a 46-year-old adult is not necessarily, I'm not the target demographic. And I know that people who watch this and love it have seen it at a certain age.
Yep.
And that's very telling, I think, because the thing is, people can watch things at a certain age and it sticks with them, and that's fine. But they can still watch it as an adult and go, actually, you know what? That makes sense. That's perfectly good. That's lovely. What comes out here is a lot of people just going, oh, you know what? It's got its problems, but you know what? I still love it. That, to me, is pure rose-tinted specs right there. You're watching something, and your back of your mind is going, you know what? It's actually a bit shit. And then everyone else is going, yes, but the front bit's going, yes, but remember when you were 8? It's fantastic. It's like, yeah. I like I say, I'm not gonna convince anyone that anyone is shit. I'm just not. And I know I'm gonna. Yeah, everyone else is gonna go. Yeah, it's lovely. It's great, brilliant, imagination. But I watched it twice, and every time I've just come away from it utterly bored and hating CGI owls, especially early CGI owls.
That was the first CGI owl.
Yeah, do you know what? It's very obviously the first CGI owl because they clearly couldn't render it out to a full screen because it would have taken far too long. So it basically crops off about halfway down the screen and about halfway up the screen and halfway in on either side. It's like on a 1900 by 1080 screen, it's a 640 by 480 square that they rendered that in, and it was just like, yeah, okay, you did well, pioneers and all that, but fuck off. It's not for me. It's really not. Shall we do some feedback before I'm burnt at the stake?
Does Elton want to say anything?
Elton, you got anything else you want to add now that you're back in the room, sir?
Okay, quickly. I know the animation of the puppets has been covered to death, but I'm going to cover it again. No,
Go for it.
I don't think that they wasted any opportunities with them. That's to say that they had lots of ideas and they went with them and created lots and lots and lots of puppets for this. And you said about the gropey hands. I thought that was, I totally forgot about that and thought that was a great idea. And it wasn't overused. It was used once, that was it, move on. Talking headstones, used once, moved on, disappeared. Any other film would use them again and again or brought them back in some way so they would make the most of their money with them. And yet you didn't have that on here at all. So I just really appreciate it for that.
Well, fair enough. I mean, uniquely using the puppets is one thing. I'm totally down with that. I mean, I understand, but I don't know. It just, for me, it's just one of those things where
Show me on the Yoda Kenner figure where the Muppets hurt you.
Yeah. In my soul, Jim, in my soul. It's too late now. Burnt away. I'm so sorry. I can't feel anything for Muppets. I know people have massive amounts of nostalgia for it, but just no.
Well, I feel they work better when you have a person isolated with them.
Right.
So you haven't got many human reference points. Like Star Wars, you got too many reference points to a human being and the physical motion that they have. Whereas a Muppet will move because another Muppet over there moves exactly the same way, and so it kind of works.
I don't know. I mean, as far as it goes with Muppets, the problem with Muppets is the same problem I have with all puppets in general, which is that you can see the skill that's employed, but the thing is, you can see the skill that's employed. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's not seamless. You can see that. Like, okay, good example. It's the same trick they use. This is going back a bit. Do you remember Bear in the Big Blue House?
Yep.
Bear with the
Talk
big
about the
blue
arm.
knob.
Bear in the
And
Big.
how they did him.
Yeah, exactly. The one arm just hangs loose like some kind of stroke victim, and then the other arm is like actually the puppeteer, and then the other arm inside is controlling the head. And you can see that with Ludo.
You can sometimes see the string across his belly as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, on a technical term, and you've got to just sit there and go, that's impressive, that's amazing, that's so inventive and interesting, but you never suspend your disbelief with those characters. You go, there's a string holding his arm up. There is clearly a man inside that moving it around, which is the one thing when I go back to my little... everyone hates CGI rant. It's like, well, CGI done well is fine, but CGI done badly is bad. But with animatronics are great. But when you've got puppets, which is a slightly different thing, you can just say, oh look, there's a hand inside that thing's arse moving its eyeballs around. There's
somebody standing around on my house. I'm pretty sure my eyeballs are moving around as well.
And and so when you see some of the smaller goblins, it's like that's really impressive. But they all move like Muppets. They all do this kind of jerky up down, up down, up down, up down, up down to show you that they're walking. Nothing on earth walks like that except a puppet when they have to show you that they're walking. It's like, what, has they got their knees up their arse? What the fuck is going on there? But I appreciate it's for an audience of a certain demographic, but every time, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's the Muppet Show, whether it's Labyrinth, not so much Dark Crystal, because they went a little bit further with that, but, it just takes me out of it. I appreciate the artistry, but not invest in the characters. And like I say, I think the closest I've ever got to investing in a character at all has been Yoda. And that's when you see him move, he doesn't do the uppy downy, uppy downy, up and downy until they turned him into a CGI Sonic the Hedgehog in the second film. But anyway, that's just my thing, because a lot of people were saying on the Facebook group, you never get a film on with Muppets because Lee won't have it. It's like, well, it's not that I won't have it, it's just I won't necessarily engage with it in the way that everyone else does, because everyone loves Muppets. And I don't. There you go. I'm dead inside.
Yes, you are.
I'm a dead, desiccated husk of a man. Right, let's do the feedback before I have a mental breakdown.
Now put your hands up, here online, doing real fine. We're doing our podcasting. It's called Black Dog, it's not like a joke. Is anyone there listening? What do you think of our show? Let us know by MP3 or email. Just get it to us, it ain't no fuss. We'll even read your Twitter rings. Cause if you like us or you hate us, send some feedback in. Gotta geek and point to rates and put some feedback in. If you think my voice is sexy, put some feedback in. Man, we really like it if you put some feedback in.
Right, okay, here we go for feedback time. And so the first bit of feedback we have is from Fiendish Dr. Will. Will Catlin Hallett, your drinking partner of Nine Worlds, I believe.
Yes, he was. One of the many.
One of the many, okay. And he writes, "Good evening, Black Dog. Cards on the table. I love Labyrinth. I was 8 when it came out, so I was the exact target audience, and I watched it many times. Having said that, even at that age, I was never convinced by the musical numbers. They just got in the way of the actual story. Watching it now, it's still great fun, even though it was 10 a.m. in the freezing room on uncomfortable chairs after drinking until 4 a.m. with Darren. What I noticed most was that it's very much a children's film. Much of the story falls down when looking through adult eyes, but it is very much felt like it was me that had aged rather than the film. There's so many things I love about this film, even now. I love the unique design, the concepts, and everything going on. Well, most. I didn't really like those fire demon things kicking their heads around. Particularly the talking hands in the pit, the goblins peddling the spinning blade machine thingy, and the escaping a room by leaning on a door up against a wall. The biting creatures on the ends of the sticks, and the goblins' armour and weaponry, and so on. And maybe it's not all completely unique. It certainly reminded me in places of the Dark Crystal, but it seemed very different from anything else. I remember learning so much this. I remember learning so much this, and not what a not just what a noublet is. Oh, learning so much from this, and not just what a noublet is. The riddle was one of telling the truth, and one always lying was a great lesson that served me well many times when I grew up. Not that I was always the exact same riddle, but it taught me how to think sideways through a riddle. Some of the actual appearances have certainly dated, particularly the very dodgy fiery scene, but considering its age, it still holds up. It was just a revolutionary film. The owl in the opening credits was the first photorealistic CGI animal ever created in film, and Ludo was the single largest person costume ever made. The gate guard was the largest multi-operator puppet ever made. All of this just added to my joy and wonder at watching it. And on top of that, it's a really good fairy tale. It talks of the importance of narrative, and it talks to the importance of narrative as a driving force. Towards the end, where Sarah goes to face Jareth on her own, she says, "That's the way it's done." And it may seem odd to go on your own at that point, but the stories and myths have a power unto themselves that can shape the world around them, and so on. To me, this was just as an important and powerful piece in the film. As well as showing Sarah taking control of her life instead of just floating along complaining about life's unfairness. I'll stop there before I delve into some long treatise about Sandman, American Gods, and various other Neil Gaiman penned examples. So yes, I do love this film. I'm very aware of much of it stems from nostalgia, having grown up with it. I acknowledge that this is not the film designed to appeal to adults, and the musical numbers are pointless. But it's an excellent children's film with a lot more depth and darkness than other films. Then again, this is from the same era that gave us The Dark Crystal, The Black Cauldron, and similarly dark films that shaped my childhood. Actually, it makes me wonder if I should re-watch Never-Ending Story again. So I know I watched it many, many times, and I can remember nothing about it now, which probably means it's actually terrible and I blanked out everything except the music. Till next time, Fiendish Dr. Will. Well, thank you very much for that, Will. Yeah, there you go. I think this is going to be a running theme throughout the feedbacks, but we'll see. And I'm glad you still liked it, even if you've grown out of it rather than it's grown old. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not, but there you go. So, Darren, who do you have next? Thank you again, Will.
We have Mr. Danger himself, Matt Jones.
Danger Matt. Amazing.
Astounding.
Danger Matt. Go on.
And he sends a mail titled Dance Magic Dance. Dance Magic Dance.
Oh, David Bowie.
Dance Magic Dance. And he writes, "Hello there, Lee, Darren, Elton, Jim, and the non-CG version of Mr. Owl."
He's on the ball.
Well, I, for one, am glad that we finally got round to reviewing Labyrinth, which I thought would never happen due to Lee's aversion to all Muppet-related things. It's been a favourite of mine since I saw it as a preteen, and I still watch it at least every couple of years to this day. The film came at a time when Jim Henson was sorry. The film came out. It's not his spelling or anything. It's just me with the inability to speak. The film came at a time when Jim Henson was testing the limits of what could be done with puppet characters interacting with humans after the puppets-only approach of The Dark Crystal. He had humans interacting with puppets before several Muppet films, as well as their parent shows, of course, but in Labyrinth he places them in an entirely new world of imagination and fantasy. I love everything about this film, from the brilliant and inspired puppetry, Terry Jones' witty and clever script, and the incredibly catchy songs to the excellent performances. Jennifer Connelly is rather good in her debut screen role as Sarah, a teenager on the cusp of adulthood, and although Bowie gets a fair amount of stick for this film, I think he's perfect as Jareth the Goblin King. As a youngster, his performance came across as marvellously weird, but watching it now, you can see that he is gradually falling in love with Sarah. He is jealous of her friendship with Hoggle and looks devastated when she walks away from him at the masked ball. It's subtleties like this that make this film so rewatchable after 30 years. If you look for the layers, you'll find them. Labyrinth is also a superbly paced film with never a dull moment. Sarah meets her companions one by one as the film plays out in a similar way to The Wizard of Oz, and these characters are superbly realised. The downtrodden but lovable Hoggle, the brave Sir Didymus and his trusty steeds Ambrose, and the huge rock-controlling beast Ludo, Ludo, who is amazing to watch and try to figure out how he is operated. There are also a myriad of supporting characters, many of whom only appear in a single scene, but are all extremely memorable. Then there are the great set pieces, the Bog of Eternal Stench, the battle in the Goblin City, and the Escher-inspired castle sequence. It really is a joy to watch from start to finish. I still can't see how the film wasn't a box office hit upon release, but its reputation has grown more and more over the years. The creations of Brian Froud, was it Froud or Froud? Froud. Are brought to life brilliantly by Henson's skilled team, and combined with Terry Jones's often Pythonesque humour, the end result is a true classic that is still enjoyable today by young and old alike. I'm hoping that the majority of Black Doggers agree with me here, and even if Lee finds something to admire after the sheer awfulness of the last week's Vanilla Ice shambles. Hilarious podcast, though. Cheers, guys. Danger Matt.
Thank you very much for that, Danger Matt. Yeah, I mean, like, as I said before, I admire the craft, if nothing else.
I admire the craft. I thought it was a really good film.
No, not.
What about this one though?
Not that. Though I have to say, one thing I did miss out on was David Bowie's Jareth. He is about as threatening as someone telling you you're not allowed in the creche.
Oh, I don't know. There's a certain aspect of him. If I saw that coming towards me, I'd feel threatened.
Yeah, but he doesn't do anything. The worst he does in the entire film is threaten a tiny man with being hung in a bog that he willingly goes to in the fucking end anyway. And secondly, turning a scarf into a snake.
Jareth warned someone about being hung.
Mm. Oh, yeah. Does that as well. So, yeah, I find his performance a bit weird. Not in the good way weird, but, yeah. Anyway, so, yeah, glad you like it. Got nothing else to say, really. I'm not a Muppet man, clearly. The Muppets have touched me in a way that clearly no one else. Anyway, doesn't matter. Thank you very much for that, Matt. Thanks very much, mate. And yes, let's move on to you, Jim. Who do you have first?
We're going to the science deck of the USS Black Dog to hear from Gary, Mr. Spock Madden.
Off to the science deck. So what does he have to say about this film?
Greetings, Lee, Darren, Elton, Jim, and the right hand of the Goblin King, Mr. Owl. It's been a heck of a week since I last wrote. I've witnessed a severed leg. My job definitely has its moments, and served on a jury for attempted murder, filling in for that slacker Klingon. For an encore, I'm setting off for the West World, that is Wichita, Kansas, to plug a few potentially sentient androids. Everyone's got to unwind.
Nice.
Speaking of winding down, it looks like Netflix Roulette finally gave us all a break. So let's dig in. It might be my age, but I've always loved Jim Henson's work. In my opinion, Labyrinth is the best Muppet film ever made. Okay, Star Wars has better Muppets, but it's not a Muppet film per se.
Fair enough.
The film has always been a staple around our house. One of these movies we go to whenever straightforward rules of good old-fashioned fables are preferable to the real world. Labyrinth was also my gateway to the Storyteller series, as well as all the great weirdness that is David Bowie's film career. The Man Who Fell to Earth, The Hunger, and I'm sure there are others I haven't discovered. On one hand, this is a simple, fun fairy tale. We've got the Goblin King with all his weird, hapless helpers and their strange machinations. It's easy to fall in love with the sheer Hensonness of Labyrinth. Everything from the Cockney caterpillar, even though I'm sure the accent's all wrong, Hoggle pissing in the fountain, the flower fairies that bite, Sir Didymus and his keen sense of smell, the faithful Ambrosius, and of course Ludo. But scratch the surface, and this isn't just another Muppet movie. Labyrinth does a wonderful job of mixing classic fairy tale tropes with the realities of 1980s tween life. Sarah is at that dangerous age when teddy bears are being traded in for a different kind of squeeze. In every element of the film, we see a kind of tug-of-war between Sarah's childish innocence and the hard world of adulthood. Her loving parents suddenly seem oppressive and unreasonable as she nears independence. Suddenly, the childhood security, represented by Ludo and Didymus, are cast against the world of adult titillations, represented by Jareth and his stuffed tights. The tension of growing up hides behind everything from Jareth's ball juggling to Hoggle's fountain pissing to the ticking clock that marks time as Sarah navigates the maze with all its pitfalls. On a less psychobabble note, Labyrinth has managed to become one of the most quoted films around our house, with the Bog of Eternal Stench being the most popular. I'm sure everyone in the cast has been in a Bog of Eternal Stench before, both interpersonally and physically. Hell, every government in the modern world is a Bog of Eternal Stench right now. I'm also using Jareth's "You say that so often I have to wonder what your point of comparison is" every time I hear a hipster whine about life being unfair. Anyway, I'm sure you guys are going to get a ton of feedback, so I'll keep it short. Great choice, even if it was random. I'm glad you visited a film that you probably never would have otherwise. Long live and cheese shows down! Gary, Mr. Spock, Madden.
Oh, thank you very much for that, sir. Yeah. Yeah, Jareth's, you said so often, I wonder. The line...
What your point of comparison is.
Yes. You've been hating on this film, Lee. You hate so many Muppet films, Lee. Wonder what your point of comparison is, Lee. What's happened to you with the Muppets, Lee? Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Lee.
Do you like gladiator movies, Lee?
Yes.
So if you want to go down the cycle babble route,
go on in. And you've been dying to break out the conspiracy.
Yeah,
theories.
yeah. Well, the thing is, the thing that's set up with this film is you've got to remember Sarah is living with her dad, who is remarried, and she has a little step brother she resents. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Her mother is on the cuttings on the bedroom mirror.
That's right.
And her mother's new boyfriend is David Bowie. And Jareth is an embodiment of her desire for him and her jealousy of her mother.
Oh, my God. Okay. And when is the conspiracy theory podcast that you're doing, Elton?
It's in a couple of weeks' time.
Cool. Okay.
What day was it? The 17th? I think it's the 17th of August.
Cool.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, do listen to that, everyone. I think Jim's queued up already. Cool. So, anything else on that one, then, Jim? Or
there's lots more you can go into because, Gary did put it in a nutshell that Jareth is kind of the part of the fantasy. He's the opportunity to say you can be grown up or you can have fantasy, but you can't have both at the end of the day.
Yeah, which is also encapsulated in "this is all junk." even though clearly she's gone completely fucking nuts by the end because all of the figures all just turn up in her bedroom. So she's clearly chosen fantasy at the end.
Well, no, it's more in the end. He says, "We're there when we need you." It's kind of like fantasy's fine in its place.
I say the same thing at the end of the film every time I watch it. When Hoggle goes, if you want us, you just have to say. She goes, "Oh, I want you here." And he goes, "Well, why didn't you say so?" And I always end with, "Well, I fucking well did. I just said to you, I want you here."
I haven't got a fountain to piss in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the Fireys are up there in the fucking in the toy cupboard looking out going like the end of a Muppet Show episode.
Yep. So as you say, she has gone completely bonkers.
She has. She's lost her fucking mind.
And in reality, what she's doing is she's just cleaning the barrel and the rest of the actual high-powered sniper rifle, which she's about to take up to the bell tower.
Yeah, that's right. She's murdered her family because you never see her family again, do you? You never.
She's humming.
Yeah, in a sort of off-key kind of thing.
This is my rifle. This is my gun. This is for pleasure. This is
for
my
killing
gun.
Muppets. Anyway. Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Gary, and well done on the attempted murder jury rap. I don't know how you congratulate people for getting on juries.
But you congratulate them for getting off of a murder rap. You know.
Yeah, you don't get a choice. You get called up for jury service, don't you?
Yeah.
Come or else.
I've heard that before.
Or in prisons in some states, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, who's that guy? Stiekel, or whatever his name is. He's going to be saying that a lot. The one who put up the AIDS drug by 750%.
That was a fucking hilarious picture, that was.
Yeah, it's going to be good, that one.
Smug smile completely wiped off his face.
Exactly. Anyway, so thank you very much for that, Gary. Yes, good feedback. And let's move on to you, Elton. Who do you have next?
We have the writings of Keldor.
Keldor the Mighty. And so what does she say?
Doreen says, "Hello, everyone. Labyrinth is a sort of chicken soup for the soul movie for me. Even though I don't think I saw it until adulthood. I believe Anthony introduced me to it. Even with the sinister Mr. Owl in it, it still has a magical... it's still magical without the Disney-filed... Without being Disney-filed, sorry. Yeah.
Disney-fied,
okay.
Yeah.
Disney-fied, sorry.
That's right, man.
Oh, God, this is a really good start already, isn't it?
It's going on, man.
The deaf, dumb door knockers are fun. The gags are misunderstanding. The gags and misunderstandings are perfect. The optical illusions are brilliant, especially the bit when the worm teaches Sarah to pass the obvious and walk through the wall, ghost-like until made obvious that the walls are all the same and therefore messing with our depth perception. I love Sir Didymus Steed and his wee granny square Hedrick blanket. I could have done less with the Bowie bulge, though. However, I like the bit where he walked through the stone face. Another optical illusion.
Oh, yeah.
Like an old Channel 4 and 5 idents. What?
Channel 4 idents, yeah. You know the E4 idents when all the faces came up and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
God, yes, I remember that, yeah. After Sarah escapes the obelisk with Hoggle and taking rock faces and talking rock faces made me think of Easter Island. The ball scene reminded me of the much more recent BBC adaptation of Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I don't recognise that.
Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, that was a BBC TV thing, and it was also a book by Susanna Clarke about two magicians in the Napoleonic era.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Is that recent? It says more recent on here. Yeah.
It's a good book to work out with. It's in the original hardback.
Yeah, you can kill a man.
I lost a stone in weight reading that book.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
she continues. On this watch, I was surprised to realise that Sarah may not be as smart as her apparent bookworm status at the start might suggest. At one point, the Labyrinth realm, she suddenly says with surprise, "I think I'm getting smarter." It made me view a lot of things differently, like a cluttered room with plenty of cuddled toys, maybe not have existed if she was so popular and always had friends around. A lot of the fact that she lost track of time when she was play acting alone and is always trying so hard to remember lines from a play or book all took on a different dimension after I heard the smarter line. And I even wondered about labelling her dyslexic. But then I thought that I was taking it a bit too far. I adored the life-size Etcher drawings at the end as well. Well done on the fundraising. Bye for now, Keldor.
Thank you very much for that, Keldor.
Destroyed that.
Don't worry, dude. It's all fine, man. Don't worry. It's cool. Thank you very much for that, Keldor. Glad you liked it. And, the Escher scene was visually quite interesting. If, as an actual conclusion, pretty dull. But that's just my opinion. But, cool. Good feedback. Thank you very much. And, for those of you who haven't, do check out Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell as a BBC. I don't know if it's still on the iPlayer or if it's on a box set on the iPlayer, but it is worth a look. It's really quite cool. And the film itself, the book itself is, as Jim says, you can kill a man with it, but it is actually a good book. Anyway, so thank you very much for that, Keldor. And now it's time to move on to my piece of feedback, my next bit of written feedback. It's Kim, what am I talking about? Chris Oster. And she writes, Labyrinth feedback. Hello, Black Doggers. So, Labyrinth. It's been about 5 years since I watched Labyrinth, and my opinions remain the same. The only reason to watch this movie is one of the following. 1. A nostalgic love for Jim Henson character creation and or puppetry, because that shit is solid. Love or hate the fact that the film is populated by annoying puppets, they're still setting the bar. 2. If you enjoy sparkly costumes, and you have nothing better to do than sit for 2 hours waiting for the ballroom scene, because let's face it, it's the best scene in the film. 3. Having an existential crisis over the fact that David Bowie no longer resides in this dimension, and you need just a little goblin king in your life to tide you over until he comes to take you away. Other than that, I can't see anyone except a 5-year-old or a nostalgic 40-plus seriously enjoying this film. I do think there's so much original potential, but there remains bittersweet until the story, a bittersweet untold story that I would love to explore. But that ship has sailed. No one else could realistically play Jareth. I have to find solace in the fact that the masquerade ball scene is one that's haunted my dreams since I was 7 years old. And holy hell, as a consolation for a vaguely annoying film with not enough of the good stuff, those sparkly costumes and character designs are pure, satisfying eye candy. This film has got to be a dose of glitter sequin encrusted envy for anyone like myself, who enjoys a proper ball gown and owl-inspired feather capes. I can't imagine the time or the satisfaction of having Jareth's owl-based costume, or having made Jareth's owl-based costume, is an incredible piece of fashion art and is almost always overshadowed by Sarah's ball gown. I'm not sure if that's fair because Jareth's costumes are stunning to hold on their own. Stunning and hold their own. Sarah's ball gown is, of course, beautiful and a product of the 80s before big costumes were made to be easily reproduced and as discount Halloween costumes. I'm looking at the Emma Watson Beauty and the Beast gown. What a fucking waste. The fact that Sarah's costume, a movie costume, had invisible bodice seams hidden by couture sewing techniques alone is something that we haven't seen outside of the 80s except possibly in the original Lord of the Rings trilogy and some Chinese fantasy movies, where they somewhat respect that the ball gown is not a prom dress. Fantasy costuming in film in general is a lost art in my opinion, but nothing having surpassed Labyrinth or Legend in this regard. There are some that came close, and Emmy Wilder is one of the few designers who I think could create them today in today's industry. But without Bowie, why would they even want to? Anyway, that's about it for me for the feedback this week. Hope everyone's well and looking forward to Battleship soon. Yep, it's coming soon. Don't worry. And in case you hadn't figured out, ladies and gentlemen, Chris does like the dresses and the costuming and the makeup and the design of everything, which is probably about as far as I'm willing to go with it as well. It's like, yeah, everything's really well made and really well crafted, except the story. Anyway, so thank you very much for that, Chris. Yeah, good feedback, and thank you, and maybe hear from you soon. Even though Battleships is still a way off. I did a bit of calculation, and I think by the time we get to Battleships, we'll be hitting October, which is dangerously close to our indeterminate weeks of horror, but we'll see how that figures out. Right, so let's move on. Thank you again for that feedback. And so, Darren, who do you have next?
I have Fred, Dr. Scumlub now.
Our Lovecraftianscience.wordpress.com correspondent, and also possibly our white-suited hitman.
I think so, yes.
Yes.
And he sends a mail that's titled, "Watch out for the bog of eternal stench," and no, it's not a reference to Jack and Jill.
Okay.
Hello, Black Dog crew. Hope all is well. Saw Labyrinth way back in the late 1980s as a punk teenager in high school. I was not impressed, so this was a welcome rewatch. Obviously, the film has a very... Sorry. Bloody phone's gone off. There we go. Obviously, the film has a very Alice in Wonderland or Wizard of Oz feel to it. Love seeing David Bowie as the Goblin King, but the ideas seem to be better than the actual execution. Would love to have seen David Bowie as a character in a Marvel film or some type of fantasy film beyond the Muppets. The movie seems to be very fractured. At times, the look of the creatures was very grim and sophisticated, At a few points, the film reminded me of Ridley Scott's movie Legend, or those art books on fairies by Froud, Brian and Alan Lee and David. Or those art books on fairies by Froud, Brian and Alan Lee and Davis Larkin. At other times, the movie simply looked like an episode of Muppet Show. This change in aesthetics appeal kept taking me out of the movie. At one point, I was getting into the film, and then Jennifer Connelly is dancing to a goofy song with some Muppets that can take off their heads and limbs. Speaking of music, the soundtrack seemed extremely 1980s and dated, very dated. So dated that it was another distraction to the story. Such dated, cheesy techno 1980s music works for slasher movies, but it did not seem to fit Labyrinth. Also, felt bad for little Toby. Man, that kid was crying like crazy at the beginning of the film. Someone give that baby a bottle. I wonder how much therapy Toby has needed through the years to get over this film experience.
Probably quite a lot, I
imagine.
imagine.
I think so, yeah. Overall, it was great to see David Bowie. The Escher stair scene was cool, and some of the character designs were interesting, but overall, I found this film extremely dated and almost embarrassing to watch, particularly with my 11-year-old daughter in the room. After the popcorn was done and the first musical number hit, she left the room and did not return until the film was over. Don't know if I will be escorted to the Bunker of Shun or the Bog of Eternal Stench, but I can't blame her. I did not like this movie and will never see it again. Still, it wasn't Jack and Jill. Thank you, Black Dog. Looking forward to next week's film. Fred, Dr. Scumlove now. P.S. Summers are always crazy. This week's need to deal with a client not satisfied with our restoration and management services.
Yeah, see? More blood. That's it. Everyone's dead.
Yep.
He's just walked in. He's going to restore order.
One to the dome.
One to the dome. And a double tap to make sure.
Yep.
To send a message. Well, thank you very much for that, Fred. There you go. I think that sounded very familiar to my experience, actually, with the girls basically slowly sloping off before, like, you know, the film's credits rolled. So at the moment, it seems like it's just me, you, Fred, and Chris in the bunker to protect ourselves from the Muppet lovers outside. He said, trying desperately to make it sound attractive. Anyway. Right, well, there you go. So thank you very much for that, Fred. And now it's time to move on to our next bit of feedback. So who do we have, Jim?
We have the infamous McJeffrick.
McJeffrick of the clan McJeffrick of the clan McJeffrick. Oh, Highlander. I'm sure we had another name for him, didn't we? But clan McJeffrick works.
Anyhow,
yes,
our bard, not of the north, says, Hello again, Black Doggers. Greetings from the heather muirs of Iowa, by which I mean expanses of corn and soybeans. First off, great work on the Cool as Ice live commentary. I was at work while it was happening, but the recording captured a great deal of the silly fun and the spontaneous real-time feedback and pained reactions. I also want to offer a hearty round of applause for all those generous folks who donated. It even warmed my cold, cynical heart.
Oh.
Now, on to this week's excursion. I found myself listening to podcasts generated by the Netflix roulette experiment very entertaining, but I couldn't bring myself to watch any of the other earlier films. I've never seen Labyrinth, but I like David Bowie, so I thought I'd give it a chance. All I really knew about it was that it starred Muppets, a young Jennifer Connelly, and David Bowie's codpiece. After watching Labyrinth, I'm not sure I know much more than that. It's an incredibly odd movie that flirts with being a musical, but there aren't really enough big musical numbers for that. It has a creepy, dark tone with kidnapped babies, grotesque creatures, and a young girl falling into a pit of groping hands, but there's still enough silly humour and pratfall gags to make it seem clearly aimed at children. The plot unfolds in a disjointed dream logic manner. I think I'm missing out because it says, though I would, and nothing else. But anyway, next paragraph.
Maybe it's, I would.
Don't go there. We've done very well so far. Don't go there.
I'm just putting the emphasis.
Dario Argento's phenomena for people who are on that wavelength. Anyhow, I'll say no more.
Yeah. Thanks, Jim.
There are aspects I liked. Bowie is pretty entertaining throughout and puts in a good performance that mixes menace with quirky charm. Jennifer Connelly is still a little stilted and wooden, but she was only about 16, so in that respect she did very well. I really liked the overall design of the labyrinth itself and the fantasy world it inhabits. Sarah and Jareth's final face-off in the broken floating remains of the castle reminded me of a final boss fight in the Final Fantasy game. The Muppets were really well made and performed, and I like most of the Muppet work in general, so I'm probably biased. I don't think it's a bad movie necessarily, but it was definitely not for me. It never made me angry, but I'm certainly perplexed. I wish I would have set up I wish I could have set up a camera to capture the slack-jawed and dumbfounded expressions that played across my face as I tried to make sense of this cinematic fever dream. Thanks again for all the laughs and insights, your good selves and the wonderful feedbackers that have made many a long night at work enjoyable.
Well, thank you very much for that, Jeff McJeffrick. Yeah, thank you very much. So, that's kind of, I don't know, wasn't quite negative, was it? It was kind of like, yeah, there was lots to like, but not enough to love, from the sound of it. But anyway, thank you very much for that, sir. And like I say, I don't think anyone's going in the bunker now. That's it. We're all over the place, stats-wise. So, thank you very much for that, sir. Good feedback. And yes, the old Scottish heathers of the Iowa cornfields shall always whisper the name McJeffrick. Anyway, so let's move on. Thank you again. And move on to our final piece of written feedback. And who is that, Elton?
We have Catherine Mann.
Catherine Mann, as previously mentioned by Mr. Barnard.
Indeed.
From her appearance, in the Nine Worlds mentionings.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Indeed.
Hello, Catherine, and let's hear what she has to say about Labyrinth.
Well, let's keep all our fingers crossed that I don't balls this one up.
It's okay.
Right.
After she's met Darren, she's never listening to this again.
Okay.
Cheers.
Hello, gents of the Black Dog. On a trip to London this week, I actually briefly met Darren at Nine Worlds Convention. It was good to meet you, sir.
Thank
Though,
you.
if you want to keep your Deathstroke identity a secret, you may have to use a different voice while in costume.
It's good advice.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Maybe like a squeaky voice, maybe.
Yeah, you don't.
No,
want,
I'll talk like this from now on.
Yes, you don't want.
I'm Deathstroke the Terminator.
Deathstroke.
Don't
the
give it
Terminator.
away.
Deathstroke the Terminator going.
I'm the
"Fucking
searcher."
hell, how much for these sausages?
No, it'd be how much
Could
for
you
these
fit a
sausages?
helium respirator to the mask?
Yes, hello, I am.
What, fill it
Death
with?
Smurf, the Terminator.
I am Assassin Smurf. Hello, hello everybody. Hello everybody, peeps. Hello, my name's Darren, and I'm an assassin.
Oh, I forgot to say about the laughing session, but never mind.
Yes, I'm going to be found at the end of your bed with a knife. I'm going to take you outside and chop your knuckles off. Night-night. Bye-bye, everybody.
Anyway, I will continue.
That was
I've
really
gotten
good,
very
Belle.
behind on podcast over the last few months, but looking on the Facebook group, I saw Labyrinth on the docket, and that's a film I actually own. I first saw Labyrinth when I was 8 years old, and it freaked me out a bit. I've seen it since and not been scared. It is still pretty weird though, but something involving both Jim Henson and David Bowie was never going to be dull. I think my early reaction to it meant that I didn't view it with as much love as many people do, but I did enjoy it. I think Sarah came off not as very sympathetic initially.
Nope.
Although maybe just saying that. Although maybe I'm just saying that because I'm a new mum. I guess the association with the Goblin King is something to check before using a babysitter. At least she learns on her journey, and it occurs to me that I can't think of many stories where sisters go on a quest to rescue a brother. Though maybe I'm missing something obvious. That often happens to me these days. David Bowie's performance as Jareth is impressive, and I can see why people enjoyed the character. But he is definitely the villain, what with all the child abduction stuff. Anyway, have fun with the upcoming shindig. That's the week I'm returning to work. But at least commuting will give me a chance to listen to the podcast regularly again. All the best, Catherine. There we go.
Well, thank you very much for that, Catherine. Well done, Elton. Thank you very much for that, Catherine. Congratulations on the new arrival.
Mm-hmm.
Well, reasonably new arrival. You are returning to work in a couple of months. So, yeah. Well, there you go. So, yeah. Do check babysitters for goblin infestation before you go any further. That's a very good piece of advice. I don't know what you can do to check for goblin infestation. I'm sure, Jim, you're going to do a hypnagoria on that, aren't you? Yeah. Babysitting and goblin infestation study.
I've already done that on the work on changelings last year.
Oh, that's true. That's very true, actually. Yeah. You might want to avoid sort of anything to do with the omen, the changeling. Strangely enough, actually, there is a film with babies. Isn't it Adventures in Babysitting?
Yeah.
Where they had a babysitter going after the kids.
Something like that. It's about one crazy night babysitting.
Yeah, there you go.
Sitting a baby right there.
Deathstroke, the babysitter.
Yes. And of course, Ghostbusters 2. With
there is.
With Rick Moranis and what's the name? Annie Potts basically making out while the kid gets stolen by that ghostly apparition of Janusz.
Yeah.
Yeah, dressed as a nanny. And they go after the kid there. That's probably about it. That's all I can think of.
I like the idea of Deathstroke the babysitter.
Deathstroke the babysitter?
Yeah.
Is that an next cosplay, is it?
No, actually, I've got an idea for an next cosplay, but I can't say it on here because somebody steals the idea.
Deathstroke the babysitter?
No.
Oh.
The babysitter. Deathstroke the chef.
Is it?
I could do that.
Is it Deathstroke the babysitter?
No, it's not Deathstroke the fucking babysitter.
Okay. You sure it's not Deadpool? You sure it's not Deadpool the babysitter?
No, it's not Deadpool the babysitter either.
Okay. Babysitting Deadpool?
No, not babysitting Deadpool.
Okay.
Deathpool.
Deathpool.
No, it's not even that.
Okay. Darth babysitter.
No.
Okay.
Swedish chef.
Babysitter.
Darthpool.
No.
Is there any babysitting involved whatsoever?
None whatsoever.
Sure?
Sure. I might have to sit a babysitter down, but that's about it.
Sit a babysitter down?
Yeah.
You're going as a
Sitting the babysitter.
Ah, you were going as a gremlin?
No. Any more?
The whole cast of Adventures in Babysitting?
Would you like to go to bed before midnight?
No, I'm all right. Good.
Super Nanny.
Yeah, there you go. Super.
No.
Mary Poppins.
No.
Yondu as Mary Poppins.
No, that's already been done.
Oh.
Not by me.
Super Gran.
Yondu Poppins, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Yeah, there's been a few turning up with a Mary Poppins costume, but with Yondu's head. So that's already been taken care of.
Okay. Janusz as the ghostly
No.
babysitter?
No.
No.
It's not a bag of spuds. I'm not a large building with a umbrella on top of it. No. I'm not a packet of cheese.
No?
No, not at all.
Well, I'm out of ideas then.
No, I kind of knew that. If I get to the cheese bit, that would be your limit.
That's it. I've
of
lost
ideas.
It. Yeah. See, once we run out of, once we get to the Dairy League triangles, I just know that if you're not going to do that, I'm out of ideas.
Yeah.
Are you going as a laughing cow?
No.
Laughing gnome.
No.
Laughing babysitter?
No.
David Bowie holding a baby.
No. And I'm not going as
David
David
Bowie's
Bowie holding a baby laughing either. I am going as no character that involves a physical representation of humour.
A physical representation of humour.
No, it doesn't involve a physical representation of humour.
Doesn't?
Doesn't, no.
Okay. Marvin the Paranoid Android.
No. This is all really interesting for people listening in on this. You know that, don't you?
Yeah. Okay. You can tell how much I want to talk about Labyrinth for you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it an alien queen?
I can tell you about the LARPing session I went to.
No.
No, which I didn't know was a LARPing session. I thought it was a talk on
I've
LARPing.
got it. You're going as the LARPing gnome.
The LARP. Oh, fuck yes. Excellent, Jim. Brilliant.
There you go.
That's taken into consideration for the next one.
The LARPing
The
gnome.
LARPing gnome.
A gnome who LARPs.
Yep.
That's a good one.
That is a good one, actually. I don't know how I'm going to represent that, but fuck it, I'll give it a go.
Just do a gnome dressed in a suit. He's LARPing, going round an office.
No.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Llama Man.
No.
He's Llama Man. He does whatever a llama can. He can bleat. He can trot. He does get everything a llama's got.
No.
Anyway, right. Well, thank you very much for that, Catherine. She's hung up now. She stopped listening. That's the end of that.
Never listening again. Well done. Well done,
again.
you.
Well done, me.
Here we go. Golf clap.
I'm glad that I couldn't see that for a second.
You couldn't.
No, I was just looking at the screen. And
Did you think it was a golf fap? Is that what you thought it was?
Don't even want to go there. Anyway, so thank you very much, everyone who's written in. And now it's time for our MP3s. And the first MP3 is down the other end of the USS Black Dog. It's Gregory Madden, a.k.a. Mr. Wolf. And let's hear what he thought about Labyrinth.
Greetings, Black Doggers. This is Mr. Worf, Greg Madden, and I'm here to give you my feedback on the 4th installment of Netflix Roulette. And that is Labyrinth, starring David Bowie and Jennifer Connelly. Now, this is by far the best movie of the 4. Probably with full agreement from everybody feeding back this week. I'd imagine it would be. Now, this movie I've watched many times and I know it pretty well. A movie I have mixed emotions about. I think it's a very good movie. I believe that the story is great. I love the story. You know, that fairy tale story, that's one of those things that is hard to go wrong with. But I do have to admit one thing. I am a little bit uncomfortable with it. This may sound funny, and I'm sure Mr. Spock there, my brother, will get a good laugh about this. But the Muppets in it always gave me a little bit of uneasy feeling. I found out later that I have the phobia of dolls, which plays into this because I never did care for Muppets of any kind. The less human, the more they're okay, but in generally, I never really cared for them. So this puts a strange twist on this movie. Although I do enjoy it, and as a kid, I enjoyed it to as best you can. It came out around the same time and was in the same group with the Dark Crystal and Never Ending Story that time around, where they had a lot of the Muppets running around and Jim Henson and his creations everywhere. Story was excellent. Thought it was very inventive and creative with the characters they had in it. My artsy-fartsy, as people call it, my love of art, really enjoyed the creation of all the little characters that are around, and you know, that really made the movie for me. I do say that it has been dated a little bit. It's looking a little bit tired. You know, you could see the special effects are showing through, but taking in consideration the age of the movie, I can't hold any of that against them. I do think I was kind of got a little chuckle there near the end of the movie. I was thinking, you know, this is kind of creepy if you think about David Bowie. He was, in his 30s and 40s when he played this role. And Jennifer Connelly was quite young at the time that she played this role. So kind of a creepy little thoughts there. this old man chasing after this young girl. But it's all in the fairy tale thing. It was a good movie all around. I'll leave it there, and I'll be wrapping it up here from the USS Black Dog security post, and wishing you all a good week. And just a P.S. right here at the end. I do not believe that Darren rigged the roulette, but I do have to question whoever's Netflix account this was, what their viewing habits were. Did they make it a habit of watching movies like Jack and Jill? Just wondering. I letting Darren off the hook with this one. So I will see you next week, or hear from you next week. Cheers.
Cheers, and well, the viewing habits. Whose Netflix did we do it on?
Oh, put it on mine.
Right. By the way, my viewing habits have mysteriously, suddenly, without my help, suddenly included Happy Tree Friends and episodes of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Is that right, Elton?
Not to do. No, not me.
Really?
Promise you, not me.
Because according to my account access, it says it was from a PS4.
Oh, well, that might be Jacob then. Remember, he disappeared with the PS4 up into his room for about a week.
Yeah. Well, he's been watching. He's watched 12 episodes of Happy Tree Friends and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Don't worry.
What's Happy Tree Friends?
Happy Tree Friends is some...
It's bonkers, that's what it is.
It's a bonkers, fucked up Flash animation that's made its way from Newgrounds to a full series, which basically involves very happy squirrels either getting fucked, shot, killed, or generally turning into cannibals in 5-minute bursts. But they all look like they should be something off of like a CBeebies program. And the tune is kind of la 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 la. I know this because I looked it up because I thought, why is Katie watching Happy Tree Friends? And then I realised it was on my account, and I thought, well, I've never fucking watched it.
Okay, I will have a word with him about that.
Okay.
I know that he's seen it before. I've got no problems in him watching it, but it is quite amusing. But
it is quite fun.
Taper that.
No, it's okay. Don't worry. I just kicked it off my list because I now found out you can actually cancel things on your Just Watched from certain devices, so it's okay. It's not a problem. So it's no longer saying because you liked Happy Tree Friends. Here is several different Fritz the Cat variants. You know, it's just like, thanks for that. Anyway, thank you very much for that, Greg. Thank you for your feedback. Glad you liked it, sir. I'm glad you're still holding on to that nostalgia kick.
I love the way that the controversy of Netflix roulette has continued, almost to the point where the Blue Peter cat naming debacle has disappeared.
It's not far off of that, is it? The inappropriateness of Jennifer Connelly's character and David Bowie. I mean, Jim kind of alluded to it with his tinfoil hat segment earlier on.
No, I totally see that.
Yeah, it's just young girl lusting after older man kind of thing. I don't...
the other way round.
Well, I was going to say, it's the other way round. I don't know.
Well, he does. He says he loves it, doesn't he? He like, I'll be your slave if you just love me and fear me.
Yeah, love me and fear me. That's not exactly super healthy, is it? Really, let's be honest. Yeah. But then again, he has been surrounded by a whole bunch of goblins. There is also a whole thing about, does he really look like that? Because every other goblin looks like a Brian Froud drawing, except the one that looks like David Bowie. Now, did he just through miracle of genetics grow up to be David Bowie? Or does he actually just do that now common thing that you see in fantasy movies where finally you get the person and you go, oh, I love you, and then it turns out to be some ugly monstrosity or something. The magic falls away. Anyway, you know what? I don't really care that much, but, I just thought I'd ask in case anyone knew. But anyway, so anyway, thank you very much for that, Greg. Glad you liked it, sir. And like I say, I think you're in good company. Everyone else seems to like it, apart from 3 of us. Right, so let's move on to our last bit of MP3, which is Michael Cornett, the Belly Stapler, and undoubtedly Voldor T. Martian from the Tapioca Mines of Phobos. And let's find out what they have to say about Labyrinth.
Good evening, Black Doggers. Good evening to Lee, Darren, Jim, and Elton. This is Mike Cornett, the Belly Stapler, your guy in Baltimore.
And this is Voldar, the guy on Phobos, kind of waving at you.
Okay, Voldar. Okay, Labyrinth.
Yeah, Labyrinth.
Voldar wasn't crazy about it.
No, it was alright, but it just didn't thrill me.
Okay, for me, it's a movie I have a certain fondness for because I saw it when I was a senior in college. It was kind of like telling me, okay, it's okay to grow up. You got to grow up, all that. So the coming-of-age themes were really hitting me at the time.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
I love the set designs of it, often very surreal and lots of fun. Jennifer Connelly was okay. The musical numbers, I think, sometimes just kind of brought the narrative to a halt so they could just fit in a musical number, especially Magic Dance and Chilly Down with the little dancing fiery things. What the fuck was their problem? And the effects were so horrible in that one scene.
I kind of liked that scene because she was ripping the people's heads off, and I wanted to rip their heads off.
Okay.
Why didn't she just pull out a gun and shoot them?
Okay, Voldar, no. Not that kind of movie.
When are we going to get that kind of movie?
Maybe next week.
Alright.
But I really liked the message it had that, growing up was part of life. Because there's been a lot of movies before and since that treat coming of age, growing up, as a tragedy. It's a fall from grace, all that kind of stuff. Labyrinth gives us growing up as a part of life. You just got to go through. You just have to face it and do it. And, in the part where she tells Jareth, you have no power over me, it's also a way of telling her fantasy world, I can't live in you anymore. I'm not going to live in you anymore. At the same time, the fantasy is no longer her reality. It doesn't mean she can't visit from time to time. But it's no longer her all-consuming reality. And a lot of people saw this too as, kind of like the evolution of the fan, all that, which I kind of laugh at. There is something a little subtle, apparently, and you guys may have talked about this, but apparently if you look really closely in all the photos that she has up around her mirror and all that, a lot of them are of a woman who is supposed to be the character's mother. Because apparently the parents are divorced, all that. Mom's gone off to be an actress. Mom has a new boyfriend. Apparently the pictures of mom with the new boyfriend is mom with David Bowie. So apparently the whole thing of, this is like some kind of Oedipal thing or Electra thing. I don't know about her crush on her mother's new boyfriend.
Oh, we just call that perverted.
Well, yeah. But I just like the fact that, that, it's okay to grow up. You can visit your old fantasy world at times and all that, but, it's a part of life. And you can still proceed forward.
Yeah, and, you don't get too caught up in it, and you don't get caught up in having extended conversations with imaginary characters.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Okay. We're not going to discuss that aspect of it.
Why not?
Voldar, no. I said so, okay?
Alright.
Anyway. Yeah, it's a movie I'm kind of fond of, though, it's... Well, I got the DVD from the library and I said on the group, I took it out of its case. It looked like someone had wiped it with a slice of ham. It was filthy. First time in my life I ever had to get out the window cleaner and clean off a DVD. It was terrible. But I wonder what people have been doing to it. Oh God, what have people been doing to it? I should have dipped it in bleach. Anyway, so Labyrinth, imperfect, but I'm fond of it.
I was okay with it.
Yeah, okay. Oh, and I have to confess, when I saw this, I did not notice David Bowie's pants at all.
You didn't?
No, it just didn't register on me. And even now, it was there.
What's wrong with you?
Look, David Bowie is just not my type, okay? Sorry.
I don't know you anymore.
Alright, well, anyway, this is my cornet, the belly stapler, saying bye-bye.
And this is Voldar, kind of waving at you from another part of the solar system. Bye, folks. Mwah.
Bye. Thank you very much for that. Well, there you go. He liked it. Dated, but liked it. And Voldar liked people's heads being ripped off. Well,
That's our Voldar.
Now, I was going to say, so it's a film with something for everyone. Whether you're a psychotic Martian or, or just a regular viewer. Though from the sound of it, I really don't know what was going on with his DVD. Did sound like basically sounded like it would have kind of had a bumpy road if you put it in the DVD player. That's what I'm saying.
Well, libraries are strange like that. I swear to God this is true, I got a book at the library and found someone who had used a rasher of bacon as a bookmark.
Oh my God. Well, there you go. That's a thing. So there you go. That's another Shonky Lab episode subject sorted out, isn't it? What have you found from library books? So yeah, I I get the whole, it's a coming of age thing, and I get it. But I don't know. We have done the whole thing with David Bowie's, David Bowie being in the mirror, though, haven't we? And
I noticed it this time. They show that again and again and again.
Yeah, well,
it is in there, definitely.
Yeah, it was. I think, like I say, as soon as I saw the Jareth statue by the side of the bed, by the side of the mirror, and then I saw the Escher drawing, I suddenly started paying attention to that room, and the whole fucking film is right there, which goes back to the conspiracy theory of, is it actually even happening? And I think no. I think she's off her knockers. I think she's out of her nut.
Right.
Off her nut. I reckon she's so guilted out and in magical fantasy land with the whole thing that she's just away with the fairies, pardon the phrasing.
Or away with the goblins.
Or the goblins. Oh, by the way, and the amount of cocks that appear in this bloody film. Seriously, yeah. I'm not talking about
his castle.
Yeah, in the bloody castle, they're all over the place. And then in the water fountain, there's like hoggles around the water fountain, and all the little hoses are actually cocks. You look at it again, that water fountain that they walk around half a dozen times. So yeah, it is the whole thing that Jim was saying about like the Little Red Riding Hood thing. It's the fairy tale as symbolism thing, but sorry, I'm trying really hard, but I'm failing badly. I'm glad everyone else liked it. I really am, but nah. Anyway, thank you very much for that, Michael. Thank you very much for that, Voldar. If you want to hear more of Michael, do take a look at his blog, which is dustandcorruption.blogspot.com. I don't think Volder's got a blog yet. Maybe Tapioca is us. Tapiocaandwar.blogspot.com. I'm putting it out there. You never know. Tapioca. Sun Tzu's Tapioca Art of War. Anyway.
The year is 2017, and we are in the middle of the Tapioca War. This time it's Electric Boogaloo.
Nice. So, so thank you very much to everyone who sent in feedback. Thank you. Thank you so far for listening. And, we're just going to wrap it all up here, I think. Anyone got any last thoughts before we do? Nope.
Next week's film, what is it?
Next week's film. Well, next week's film is the start of Angela Lansbury's Apocalypse season. Darren, would you like to explain what Angela Lansbury's Apocalypse Season actually
Well,
is?
it's Jessica Fletcher's Apocalypse Season.
Is it? You
Yeah.
said Angela Lansbury.
No,
last time.
Jessica Fletcher.
I'm going to have to rewrite that fucking document.
You're
now.
going to have to, yeah.
Go on, you carry on. I'll rewrite the document. Come
Okay,
on.
well, these are
Babysitters post-apocalypse season.
Jessica Fletcher's post-apocalyptic season is so cool because these are all movies that look like they could have been filmed on the actual set of Murder, She Wrote. So it could have been done by the same team. So we have, let's see, what was the first one? Is it A Boy and His Dog? Next
Yes.
one? Yeah, there we go. So the first one is A Boy and His Dog. And
Starring Don Johnson.
Don Johnson, that's it. I think it's in his first film role.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a bit bonkers, to say the least. So it's available on YouTube. In fact, I deliberately chose these movies. I think it's still doing on YouTube as well.
Yes, they all are.
There we go. Every single movie is on YouTube.
There you
So
go.
there is absolutely no reason for you not to watch these things now.
Because you do like an apocalypse movie, don't you?
Oh, I do.
No matter how shit they are.
I do, yes. Sometimes you get real gems in there, but sometimes you get films that have been made based on other successful post-apocalyptic movies. I mean, Mad Max 2 has had so many rip-offs. It's just not funny.
Right.
It really is. It's
So what is Boy and His Dog about? I mean, I've not seen it. So.
okay. A Boy and His Dog is about a boy and his dog after a nuclear apocalypse. The special thing about the pair of them, their relationship, is the fact that they're both psychically linked. So what happens is you get it's narrated by mostly voices in their heads until they come across other people.
Okay.
Okay,
Just-
and
Yeah.
so it's about the boy and the dog and their adventures across a nuclear wasteland. And
A psychic boy and a psychic dog.
yeah, it's just for them. It's just for those two. They're linked, the pair of them, psychically, and that's their mutation.
Right.
And the film does get more bonkers as it goes on, especially in the last half an hour of the film.
Just don't ruin it. We
Yeah.
haven't
No,
seen
I
it.
won't say, but
Yeah.
they travel and they come across various societies and occurrences as they go on.
Did you like this film?
I think I did when I was younger when I saw it. I'm pretty sure I liked certain aspects of it, even though I sat there. It's much like watching The Prisoner. I thought, I'm sure this is good, but I don't know why.
Okay.
It's like, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm not developed mentally enough to accept this. So I don't know. I may get a bit of a. I'm guessing I am going to have a totally different opinion when I watch it this week.
Okay.
Like, what the fuck was that?
Okay. Jim, Elton, have either of you seen this film?
I have seen. I saw it. I believe it was on Movie Drome years ago on BBC Two.
I think that's where I saw it.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
based on a Harlan Ellison story, if I remember rightly.
Okay. So that means we're going to get sued as soon as we talk about this,
Yep.
basically.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Warning.
Nice. Okay. Cool. What did you think of it at the time, Jim?
I think I remember. I enjoyed it. I think. It was a long time ago, and I've killed a lot of brain cells since then.
Okay. Fair enough.
It didn't even click with us at the time. It was the same Don Johnson who, a few years previously, been poncing around in neon-coloured jackets like some demented flamingo in Miami Vice with his sleeves rolled up.
Nice. Cool. Okay. Elton, are you still there?
I am. I've never heard of this ever.
Okay. So you have no idea about it at all?
No reference whatsoever.
Brilliant. And you and me can go into this viewing together in the same way, because until Darren's ever mentioned it, I've never heard of this film before in my life. So
How old is this movie then?
Oh, it must be at least 30 years old, I think, something like that.
Hold on.
Was it
Hold on. Let's find out.
1970 something? I think it was made.
1975.
Oh, there we go.
Right. Yeah. 1975. There you go. 1975.
So it's
So-
like 40 years.
Yeah. So the same year as they were doing Jaws, they were doing
A Boy and His Dog.
A Boy and His Dog. Nice. Okay. Well, there you go. That's a good basis for comparison.
I do like the way it starts with after World War VIII or something like that. That shows you how crap this film is.
Well, the YouTube thing we looked at just started off with a bunch of multicoloured explosions filmed through someone having an LSD trip.
I'm pretty sure it gives you a little black sort of like background with some white writing on it, just giving you a little bit of exposition there as well.
Fair enough. Is this going to be laughably shit?
I don't know. It might be laughably shit. It might be terribly shit for all I know. I can't quite remember. I just know the premise for the film. I make no prediction of the. Well, I make a prediction of the quality. I don't think this one's going to come out smiling.
Okay, well, so there you go. A Boy and His Dog, starring Don Johnson, Jason Robards, and Suzanne Benson. There's multiple copies on YouTube, all sitting around about the 1 hour 30 mark. If you see anything over that, then that's or under that, then you're looking at some dodgy site that's just going to show you a link.
Oh yeah.
So just avoid those. I'll put up a link on Facebook anyway. On the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Black Dog Podcast. And if you want to send in feedback for this interesting looking film, send it into feedback@blackdogpodcast.com, or alternatively go on the actual website, which is blackdogpodcast.com, and just go through the contact us page. Jim, Elton, do you want to tout your wares before we make a move? Jim?
Yes, this week I dropped 2 episodes, a tribute to the late, great George Romero, and a little companion mini tribute show to Martin Landau, talking really about Ed Wood and Space 1999.
Yes, I had a good sort of mini dad rock out on Blackfriars Station waiting as Space 1999 started playing in my head this morning. Very good.
Can't beat a bit of wah-wah guitar.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. The only problem is you can't put that on YouTube. They come down on you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
Anyway. Cool. Okay. And what about you, Elton?
Well, speaking of YouTube, can I direct all the listeners to pop along to YouTube and join or subscribe to the Black Dog YouTube page? Would you call it that?
YouTube channel.
YouTube channel.
We
there
have
we
a channel,
go. Yeah.
not just a page. We have a channel.
Or the channel, sorry. And you can catch all the episodes, the ones that are not copyright struck, at least.
Yeah. You won't find anything with James Bond in it. That those get knocked out immediately. But you can go on, carry on, Elton. Sorry.
Well, I only say that because we've hit the 100 subscribers mark now.
Woo.
So I don't know if that means anything or not, but the more the merrier. Pop over there. You can find wonderful history-bound episodes like Soundwave's interview as well that is on there.
Yeah.
There's never really been. Has that ever been on an episode, or was that an
No,
outtake?
those were all outtakes. All those ones were outtakes. There was the outtake about that, and then there was the one about the G.I. Joe front cover.
Yep.
And then there was a couple of shitty superheroes that we did. And I think I was going to put up Shit Magic as well, which is another outtake that never made it to the air. And then there's also some video reviews as I occasionally watch films that are fairly relevant and recent. So yeah, you can tune into those as well. They're all on the YouTube channel. So if you just look up Black Dog Podcast on YouTube, you'll find a channel for it. But yeah, or you can listen to this podcast again through YouTube, which is a bit pointless. But hey ho, there it is. It's fine.
Hey, the option is there. You never know.
If you can't get to your podcast browser of choice, then you can always go online and listen to it there. So there you go.
Everything plays YouTube. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Everything. 3 or 4 boxes underneath my TV play YouTube. So you've got access there. So please pop along and subscribe.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And anything else on your side of things, sir?
Probably doing Band of Brothers this weekend. And out on the 17th, I've got Shonky Lab, which is going to be the Conspiracies episode, which the wonderful Mr. Jim Moon will be joining me and Lee Harvey. And it's also Shonky Lab's 100th episode, so please bring Twiglets.
Excellent. Okay, well, there you go. So, yeah, that's about it, really. You can hear me on Space Doc Jury, which is at spacedocjury.com, and also on iTunes. And that's it. So, if you want to watch A Boy and His Dog and send feedback in, do so. And if not, God bless you. We'll see you all next week, God willing. And yeah, that's about it. So say goodbye, gentlemen. We'll see you soon. Tatty, bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
Oh, bollocks to it.